A beautiful girl who is under the delusion that she's dating me. I can't escape because we are childhood friends. By Monsuta. Translated by Das UETL. Audiobook by Masquerade at Masquerade Audiobooks. Episode 1. Prologue. Hey, isn't it about time for our 6-month anniversary? A woman hugs my arm, presses her small breasts against me and looks up at me as she says so. She is Shiina Yukiho. Her black paper bob hair is tied with a ribbon hair clip, and her eyes are droopy. She has a slender, elongated bridge of her nose and pale pink, full lips. She is also short and fashionable. She has a look that makes you want to protect her. Shiina said something about a 6-month anniversary. So you'd think me, Izumi Saku and her are dating, but we are not dating. I don't have any romantic feelings for Shiina. She just likes me one way, and there is no such thing as a relationship. And yet, on our 6-month anniversary, I think we should go somewhere to a restaurant and then go to a hotel. For some reason, Shiina and I are in a relationship in her brain. It's fine if she's imagining it on her own, since it's harmless to me and others around her, but she's been telling everyone around her that she's dating me, and even writing on her line that she's Saku's beloved girlfriend. Even now, she's talking nonsense like it's her 6-month anniversary of being with me. If she were ugly, she would still be a problem, but the fact that she's cute is another problem. If she were ugly, it would not hurt my conscience to coldly let her go, and on the contrary, it would even be refreshing, but this is not the case with her. She is a beautiful girl who is looked down upon at school, and is called an unfortunate beautiful girl by everyone. The reason why she is a disappointment is, of course, because of her fantasy with me. Conversely, she is otherwise perfect. People around me say things like, you should go out with her, or you should just marry her, but you wouldn't understand the pain I'm going through just by looking at her. Don't stick around. It's too hot. I tried to pull Shiina away from my body. As I always do, it's not a regular thing. Besides, we have a hot night almost every day. And then, she gets even closer to me, and even flashes her breasts through the gap between her shirts. This is the cause of my confusion. If we were just dating or something, it would be one thing, but she's saying that we're having intercourse, or that she's pregnant, or some such over-the-top thing. It's bad enough that she's acting on it. The other day she bought some baby stuff. This misunderstood woman is annoying but cute. Episode 2. The reality of a misunderstood woman. A classroom during a lively lunch break. One person is happily chatting with friends while eating a pastry. Others are playing games and eating snacks together. The classroom was filled with such a friendly atmosphere, but 2 students were sitting in the 2 seats at the back of the room, facing the window, and they were talking to each other. Isn't it about time that we start thinking about living together or something? Yes, I think too. Today, too, I was listening to Shiina Yukiho's story while I was drowsily enjoying the view from the window. The place is in Tokyo, 3 LDK, one room is the children's room and the other room is our LOVEIC. Of course, I'll pay all the rent and utilities, right? Because it's for Saku-kun. Please do so the bed is a king size. Of course, so that we can have intercourse easily. Yes. I think everyone wonder why I am not interested in her dreamy story and why I'm not listening to her at all. Normally, living together with the girl I love would be a topic of conversation and excitement. In conclusion, Shiina and I are not dating in the first place. There is no evidence that we are lovers. Therefore, this is just Shiina's fantasy. I was wondering if you have any good ideas about our love nest. She asks me as she eats a fried egg from her lunchbox. Yes, it's a good idea. As usual, I was listening to her. Hey, listen to me properly. She held both of my cheeks in the palms of her hands and turned me to face her. My cheeks puffed out. I'm listening to you, I said to her as I looked away and withdrew her hands from my face. I'm talking to you, Saku-kun. I need you to listen to me. It's for our future. I strained my voice a little. Okay, I'll listen to you. Now talk to me. I didn't want her to get mad at me like this, so I pretended to listen to her. Really? Then let's get on with the story. Then, she started talking again with a happy mood. At this point, you may be wondering, why am I hanging out with this annoying misunderstood woman? I want to get rid of her right now, and I don't want anything to do with her in the future. But there is an inseparable bond between us. I'm a childhood friend of Shiina's. Shiina's house is across the street from mine. Our parents are so close that they have a barbecue in their yard every month. Since before I can remember, Shiina and I have always played together. In other words, we're stuck. We used to be good friends until we were in elementary school. We were just good childhood friends. But our relationship changed in the summer of the second year of junior high school. I don't even want to think about that anymore. I'll tell you about it when I get a chance. And my classmates also said to me, why don't you just go out with her? She is cute and devoted to you. I also want to spend my school life with my friends, but Shiina's constant presence next to me makes me feel uncomfortable. Of course, I do spend time with my friends, but it is only because of Shiina that I spend very little time with them. That's why I'm forced to have lunch with her. Episode 3. Saku-kun, are you feeling sick today? Shiina says, tilting her head slightly with a superior look. Why do you think so? You're not saying much more than usual, and you haven't eaten much, have you? I'm the same as usual, so don't worry. Even so, you still have to eat your dinner, don't you? She smiled and offered me an omelette. Yes, Anne? No, I don't want it. No, you have to eat your food. I'm eating my own food. You can't have just one melon bread, you have to eat my omelette. I don't need your help. Are you saying you can't eat my omelette? Or are you just embarrassed to be Udenden in front of everyone? Huh? If you're embarrassed, I don't blame you. Saku-kun is a shy guy. You're cute in that way, too. I just want to eat normally, you know? As I said that, the contrast in Shiina's eyes disappeared. So you say that? She put the omelette back in the lunchbox, took out her phone, and showed me the screen of my parents' phone call. I'm going to tell Saku-kun's mother in tears. Actually, I was dating Saku-kun, but we got into that kind of situation, and then he let me out inside of me. I had a baby inside me. Wait. I hurried to stop the message. I told you not to tell my parents. Besides, it wouldn't be good for you if my parents found out. Under the circumstances, I don't have a choice. It would be bad if my parents found out about this relationship, especially me. If they find out, even my parents will think that Shiina is in a relationship with me and interfere with us. They will probably sign a contract for an apartment for us to live together. Well, Shiina doesn't want her parents to get involved, so she hasn't lied to them about being in a relationship with me. So you can't eat my omelette? She asks me again, flicking at her phone. I know I'm only putting myself in danger by refusing badly here. I'll eat. I had no choice but to eat. When Shiina heard the answer, she smiled and said, yes. Do you want a naan? She took a pair of chopsticks and brought the omelette to my mouth. There's no need to an. I do. This is also a communication between two people who love each other. Oh, I see. I smiled a drawn-out smile and I bit into my omelette. Yes, it tastes good. Not too sweet, just the way I like it. How do you like it? Tasty. She puts her hands on her cheekbones and looks at me with a fixed gaze. I don't have to lie and say it's normal here. Well, it tastes good, I said, scratching my cheek. Then Shiina licked my chopsticks off my mouth and said, yes, that's good. She smiled smugly. Episode 4, Child. She has a pretty face, but what she does is too abnormal. Licking chopsticks that a person has put in his mouth with a smile on her face is beyond bizarre behavior. Until now, she has not only the title of a misunderstood woman, but also a Yandere. So, let me get back to what we were talking about. No need to get back, right? Next we'll talk about the kids. I see. How many children do you want in the future? I will do my best if that's what you want. Shiina gives a small gut punch and sniffs. Here we go again. The question of how many children I want. Every time it's just the two of us, this topic comes up. 1 minute she fantasizes about being in a relationship, and the next she's talking about the development of that into married life. How much of a fairy tale is in her head? Hey, what about you, Saku-kun? By the way, I'm willing to go as much as you want to. Eh? 2 is fine. If my answer is badly postponed here, she will call my parents. Plus you don't care about me, do you? And she will jump out of the window with a despairing look on her face and do something bizarre. This has happened to me before. So, when she's talking to me and asks me a question, at first I may refuse to answer, but there's a drawback. But then she pretends to jump down. After all, this person is not only a misunderstood woman, but also adds the titles of Menharu and Yandere to the list. 2. Saku-kun, are you sure you want to? Shiina tilts her head while holding my hand. What's with that question? Normally, Shiina would have been very excited, but I felt uncomfortable with her calmness. This is not good. I have a chill. I have a bad feeling for sure. I wondered if it was okay to have so little. What do you mean by that? I thought Saku-kun would like to have a happy and more enjoyable family. I see. It seems that my bad premonition was wrong. It's just the usual self-serving Shiina's assumption. I breathed a sigh of relief. Besides, I think another is nice, Shiina said, looking out the window. Huh? What do you mean, just one more? I didn't even have time to think about it before a chill ran down my back. A moment later, actually, Shiina turned over and rubbed her stomach. I'm having a baby right now, Saku-kun. Episode 5, False Pregnancy. My bad premonition was right on target. This woman is pregnant with my child without me even touching her. How convenient is this woman's mind? If it goes this far, it's a serious matter. I mean, it's an imaginary pregnancy. Everyone in the class was stunned. She's doing it again. Shiina-chan, aren't you going to buy a doll baby or something next time? See? I can hear voices coming from all over the place. Besides, the stairs hurt me as usual. The doctor said I'm 3 months pregnant. I think it's probably from the last time we did it without rubber. Now we have a family of 3, Saku-kun. Oh, what are we going to name the baby? Oh no, the veins in my forehead are about to snap. Hey, aren't you happy? It's our child, right? Oh, you don't trust me if I don't tell you, do you? I have proof. With a high level of excitement, Shiina took a picture out of her bag. This is an echo picture of the inside of me. How do you like it? You can see our baby right here. Bouncing her body, she pointed to a small baby-like shadow in the center of the picture. I'm so stunned. I look pale. Of course. This echo is a found image. Firmly at the top edge of the photo is Google's image information. I silently get up, grab my bag, and walk out of the classroom. What's wrong, Saku-kun? Are you so happy you feel like crying? Shiina also stands up and speaks to my back. I was completely different. If I stay with her any longer now, my blood vessels will burst and I will go crazy and go insane. What's wrong? Are you in trouble? We have to get over those things together, you and I. I just want to be alone normally. No, you can't. It's more relaxing with me, isn't it? Leave me alone, I said with a forced smile as I walked out of the classroom and closed the door. I leaned my back against the door and looked down. I was about to scream so loud that I almost broke the window pane. I'm going to stay here for a while to calm my nerves. I let out a sigh and sipped the coffee in my bag. Hey guys, come to our wedding. We'll make it the best ceremony ever. Shiina's voice echoed from inside the classroom. The date hasn't been set yet, but we're planning to have it at a wedding venue by the sea, so look forward to it. Shiina declares this to everyone in the class. I'm running out of patience. I have to shout once to make myself feel better. Don't screw with me. I didn't even go somewhere deserted. I just screamed in front of the classroom and let my screams echo through the school. Episode 6, Standard Morning Situation. TSS, HNN. The next morning I woke up to the sound of someone whispering and discomfort in my abdomen. Good morning. This feeling of waking up from sleep, not knowing if it is a dream or reality. I almost fell asleep twice. It's morning, Saku-kun. The voice that was stuck in my ears woke me up at once. You're finally awake. I slowly moved my head toward the voice. I saw Shiina staring at me with a blank expression in my futon. "Huh? What are you doing?" I jumped out of bed and stuck myself to the wall to get away from Shiina. "Why are you so surprised, Saku-kun, you scaredy cat?" Of course I freaked out. "Idiot. You're terrible, Saku-kun. I'm the one who woke you up, so you should be grateful, right?" Shiina is sitting on the bed in a maiden sitting position and tilts her head slightly. Upon closer inspection, she was wearing no undergarments and only a shirt buttoned up to her chest. Through the gap, I could see a glimpse of her cleavage and pink bra. It didn't matter. I was not aroused by her. "What are you doing here?" I said, looking away so as not to look at Shiina too much. "Of course I came to wake you up. Saku-kun's a sleepyhead." "That's not what I meant. Why did you come to wake me up? Isn't this a standard situation between childhood friends or lovers?" "To wake you up in the morning on the futon." I put my index finger on my chin and look at the ceiling. And it comes to mind, there are tons of situations in anime and manga where people come to wake people up in the morning, but people are different. The ideal girl would be graceful, with large breasts, good looks, and a clear head. A beautiful girl who can even do sports. This is the childhood friend who would wake you up under the covers or on top of you, smiling and saying, "Good morning." This is the ideal situation. But what about now? A woman who is delusional and thinks she's dating me, who has broken into my house without my permission, and is under the covers before I know it. It's a complete nightmare. Or it's just a scene from a horror movie. Anyway, it's still scary. Episode 7. When parents dote on you. Then I'll change the question. How did you get into my house? The door is locked and the chain is locked. If she could get in with the door locked, she must have teleported or had the ability to slip through walls. Saku-kun, your mum let me in just fine, didn't she? TSK. That old hag. No matter how much Shiina is my childhood friend, don't bring her up to my house in the morning and lead her to my room. Even if she doesn't know our relationship and we've been good childhood friends for a long time, would you let an adolescent girl of the opposite gender into an adolescent boy's room with impunity? Really? Thank you, Mama-san. Don't you think? I get to see Saku-kun in the morning. I wish I could shag that old hag right now. She's a good mum. Saku-kun's mama. She's not a good mother when she lets you in my room. Moo, Saku-kun's got a hot temper. Annoying me from morning. Is it possible to be this stressed out in the morning? It doesn't happen often, does it? It's not often that I wake up and immediately feel like I'm about to snap. It pisses me off more than getting water poured on my face when I wake up. "Oh, by the way, your mum said breakfast is ready, so go to the living room and eat it." Shiina yawns while stretching out on the futon. If I went to the living room, she would totally sleep on my futon. Her gesture is a perfect sleeping pose, but it's not like I can stay here all the time and keep an eye on her. I have to go out for breakfast, and I have school today, and so does Shiina. "Hey, I'm going downstairs to eat now. But don't sleep in my bed, or better yet, go home." I glared at Shiina, pointing my finger at her, and left the room. I went downstairs and appeared in the living room on the first floor. "Good morning, Siku. Breakfast is ready, so eat up." I sit down on the sofa, and my mother, who is in the kitchen, calls out to me. "Anything you want to say to me before breakfast?" I say as I add the one plate of breakfast bread on the table in front of me. "Yukiho-chan came over to Saku's room, didn't she?" "You two really get along?" "No, we don't get along, and I don't want her in my room without my permission." "That's fine. We've known each other for a long time, so I don't mind." "I don't care anymore. Mom is useless. She loves Shiina." Even before, when I came home, Shiina was having dinner with my family, and when I went back to my grandmother's house in Niigata with my family, she was with me for some reason. My mother loves Shiina so much that she accepts such strange behavior. Likewise, Shiina's mother also dotes on me. When I was in junior high school, she made lunch boxes for me every day and took me shopping on weekends. When both parents love each other's children so much, there is no private space in the house. Episode 8. Don't masturbate. Come on, eat up and get ready for school. Besides, Yukiho-chan is waiting for you, isn't she? She's just here on her own. She's not waiting for me. Yes, yes, puberty is embarrassing, isn't it? Go on. Get going. TSK, this is not because I am an adolescent and my parents are annoying. Even in adulthood, parents who poke their nose into unnecessary matters will still be annoying. Sighing, I went out of the living room and went up the stairs to my room where Shiina is. As I get closer to the room, I hear voices coming from inside. NNGHHHH, hi. It wasn't just a monologue. It was a sweet wheezing voice. This is getting worse than sleeping in bed. She's definitely masturbating in my room. That's Shiina. No, wait. It's not good to assume. Maybe she's just giving a massage. Maybe she's just so comfortable that she's letting out her voice. I'd have to see it with my own eyes to know for sure. I climbed the stairs to the end so as not to make a sound, and quietly opened the door to my room. And there it is. My Saku-kun, you're the best, love. I saw Shiina on the bed, sniffing my pants and reaching for her crotch. ATS. I screeched to keep my voice down. This person is seriously crazy. I've known it for a while. I mean, where did she get my pants from? I want to run away right now, but I can't take my eyes off Shiina. And although it irritates me, my son is very excited. My body and mind are in conflict. But what should I do? I have my uniform and bag in my room, so I have to go inside to go to school. Saku-kun, is he here yet? I want to show him that I'm doing it. Hi. Probably useless. She won't stop until I enter the room. This is a dead end. If I pretend I didn't see her and go in, she'll say, finally, you're here. See? Look how much I've grown. I bet she'd open her legs and show me her that. I would beat myself up to keep myself rational if she did that. Episode 9, that doesn't change the fact that she's cute. Now what should I do? I'm really stuck. Is there any better way? I put my hand in my pocket and it hit me. I call Shiina and call her downstairs while I get ready for school and leave the house right away. Good thing my phone is in my pocket. I don't relax. As much as I'd love to see Shiina doing one, I take my eyes off of her and quickly run to the bathroom while my son is still jacking off. This is not to do it. It's to call Shiina. No matter how much Shiina is a misunderstood man or a woman, she is still cute. That's why my body reacts. She is just a beautiful girl who is a damn disappointment. If she had a perfect personality, I would have married her, but now is not the time to say that. I need to make a call to her. I open my phone, unblock Shiina's line, and make a call. Please don't get carried away and not answer. This strategy will be meaningless when the call tone repeats 3 times. Hello? Ha. What's wrong, Saku-kun? Shiina, out of breath, picked up the phone. Why are you out of breath? I blinked to avoid suspicion. I've been exercising a little. Exercise? In a way, masturbation might be exercise. So? Why did you call me? I know you're downstairs. Yeah, but my parents want to see you, so I'm calling you. Why don't you just come and tell me? I'm eating dinner right now, and I've got your stuff. So I called you. You have one for me, too? Does that mean I can have breakfast with you? If you come over here early. I'm almost done eating. I'll be right over, Shiina said and hung up the phone, then heard the door slam open with a bang and a thud down the stairs. Okay, she's gone. I gently opened the door, checked to make sure Shiina is not there, and run back to my room to grab my uniform and bag and head back to the bathroom. As I was changing in my room, I didn't know when Shiina would come back. As proof of this, Saku-kun, where did you go? Shiina runs up the stairs and comes back to my room. It was just in the nick of time. If I had been a little later, I would have been caught for sure. I held my breath and waited for Shiina to disappear. His uniform is gone. His bag is gone too. When did you leave home, Saku-kun? I have to chase after you right away. As I was quietly getting dressed, Shiina ran down the stairs again. A moment later, I heard the front door open. Episode 10, Unpleasant Look. Okay, now I can go to school in peace. I let out a sigh and emerged from the bathroom. I slowly returned to my room and fix my appearance in front of the mirror. I fix my crooked tie and wax my hair. Then I go downstairs, grab a small carton of coffee milk from the refrigerator, and leave the house. The weather is clear. No sign of Shiina. I woke up from a bad night's sleep, but now it's a perfect morning. I was sipping coffee milk and basking in the warm sunshine, walking along the straight road to the station, when I heard a voice saying, I felt a gaze from somewhere. It was a nasty look, too. I felt a tingle down my spine and instinctively felt threatened. But when I hurriedly looked around, no one was there. I thought Shiina might be lurking somewhere, but that was not likely. It was her. She must have thought I was headed to school and got on the train already. If she had followed me or ambushed me at the station, I would have reported her to the police. At this point, she is a bad stalker. I looked around again, but Shiina was nowhere to be seen. It was just a misunderstanding. With this thought in mind, I proceeded to the station again. After walking for a few minutes, I arrived at the nearest station. From this station to the school is 4 stops, or about 15 minutes. I went through the ticket gate, got off at the platform, and checked the timetable. 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes until the next train. I sit down on a bench nearby. I've been so tired since this morning, and it's all Shiina's fault. Why do I have to be so sluggish on the morning of a school day? I can't concentrate on my classes. Well, most classes I'm either sleeping or looking at my phone. I'm so tired. I'm nodding my head. Here, take this to cheer you up. I was so tired that I was nodding my head, and a nutritional drink was held out in front of me. Oh, thanks. I took it, bailing, and looked up. You must be tired, Saku-kun. You need to get more sleep. Shiina looked at me with a smile on her face. Episode 11, No Privacy. Hey, why are you here? I reflexively stood up and moved away. I didn't realize it was Shiina at first because she had changed her voice slightly. I couldn't hide my surprise. I've been following you all the way from the house to here. Huh? Because when I left the house in a hurry and checked your location. It says you're at home. I waited for you to come out of the house. Me location? Yes, I put it in your phone so that I know when and where you are, and also to prevent cheating. I quickly pull out my phone and search for the location app. I quickly uninstalled the location information app that had been so well hidden. Now I no longer have to worry about location data leaks. This is a crime. Besides, don't I have any privacy? Your privacy is also my privacy. That's why I back up all your search history and everything. It's also a great way to find out what your interests are. It's a perfect crime. She's crazy. Moreover, my search history has been exposed. She knows about all my pornographic videos and stuff. It's just too bad. I'm done. I'm getting so tired of all this. Location awareness, search history monitoring. I don't seem to have a private life. Hey, if you were hiding near my house, why didn't you just call out to me when I left the house instead of stalking me? You didn't have to go to the trouble of stalking me. I was sure she would have hugged me from behind and said, "Good morning, Saku-kun," I said with narrow eyes, and Shiina blushed and wriggled her body. Because it's embarrassing for us to go to school together. Whenever and wherever. The guy who sticks to me and presses her breasts against my chest is saying something like that. I'm going to lose my temper in earnest. I can feel the blood vessels in my forehead swollen. Seriously, I think I'm going to drown her in Tokyo Bay one time. It's so embarrassing to go to school together in the morning. It's so goofy. Shiina is making a fuss all by herself. You have a bug. Of course. I'm buggy because I like you too much, Saku-kun. She hugs me even more forcefully. Don't stick to me in public, idiot. That's fine. Let's show our love for each other in the morning. If we were at school, I'd give her 100 paces and let her go. Almost the whole school knows about our relationship. But this is a station platform, a place where strangers pass by. The way people look at you is 100 million times more piercing than at school. That's what a couple of idiots look. We're not dating in the first place. Don't get me wrong. People looking at us right now. Episode 12, NTR Hobby? Now, I have to disperse this person somehow. Once I've cut off my location, I should be able to shake her off once. Well, I can't avoid meeting her at school and I know she's going to stick around, but I need a break. Get away from me, you. I pull Shiina off my arm and take about 3 steps back. For now, I've got the distance. All I have to do now is to check the escape route in my mind and run away. Why are you leaving me? Let's stick together and get on the train. I refuse. So you don't mind if I get molested by the fat guy? No. Then do you want me to be kidnapped, drugged, and raped continuously? I don't mind. Then, afterwards, I'll be surrounded by a bunch of uncles, and I'll be bound by my limbs, and they'll... Okay. No more talking. I interrupted Shiina's story and stopped her. If she opens her mouth anymore, she will not be able to stop the bombshells. And the stares from the people around me still hurt. What's with that couple? Didn't that girl just say something about rape? And she's so cute. I want to do her, and so on. I guess it's okay for Saku-kun when I'm his girlfriend and I'm raped, huh? Shiina turned away from me. I'm not in a relationship with you, and I don't give a damn who rapes you. Are you into NTR, Saku-kun? That's not true, idiot. I'm about to lose my temper. Shiina tilted her head and exclaimed. You're already pissed off. She gives me a narrow look. You don't want to be a cuckold, do you, Saku-kun? You're so possessive, Saku-kun. Shiina wiggles her body while holding her cheeks with both hands. I've never once understood how this person came up with this idea. I'm sure it's because I'm a normal person. Don't be so casual with me. I pull away as hard as I can from Shiina, who is clutching my arm forcefully. Even when I back my hand away, she grabs it again, and when I push her head down, she sticks to me. It's the human version of a snail, but from the side of this picture, it looks like a host and his dependent host crazy. In short, it's attention-seeking and chaotic. Episode 13, Here Comes the Chance? The train will arrive shortly. Please wait inside the yellow line. As I was fighting with Shiina, an announcement was made that a train was arriving at the platform. This is an opportunity. As soon as the train arrives, I will get rid of Chiba and get on the train while she is somewhere else. This is the only way to escape. First, I had to get Shiina to go somewhere. I'm feeling like I need a drink of water, so can you go get me one? I say softly to Shiina, who is still clutching my arm. Why don't you just go one later? I really need a drink of water right now. You have that drink in your hand that I just gave you. I forgot all about it. I looked at the small bottle in my hand. I'm sure you said it was a nutritional drink. Isn't that a dozen? I exclaimed as I looked at the label. I was wondering if this nutritional drink would give you more energy. Shiina tilted her head. This one doesn't give me energy. It just gives me more energy. Is that so? But that's fine. You can use that energy on me. I won't. You idiot. Saying that, I gave back the tremendous juice to Shiina, who would drink tremendous juice in the morning. I can understand if it's something like lip of it, and I was annoyed and clicked my tongue. Do you really want a glass of water? Shiina tilts her head with an upward glance. Yes, that's right. I really want a glass of water. Then, she held her crotch over her skirt and turned her inner thighs to the side. Do you want some of my water? Shiina, holding her lips with her other hand, huffs and puffs and breathes hard. No, I'm not going to drink it, okay? That's not water, right? I answered immediately. Can't you drink my holy water? What holy water? Would you have preferred a kiss and saliva exchange? No, I'm not gonna say it. I wouldn't be having this conversation if I liked it. I'd rather have bottled water. Bottled water, right? Is it sold in the vending machine here? She puts her hand on her chin and looks up. This is the way to go to buy it, isn't it? Let's continue to lead her along. Water is sold in every vending machine, though, right? Will you go buy it for me? I'd go buy it for you. But the train will be here soon, so you'll have to wait for the next one, okay? She pulls my arm and shakes her ass. Yes, I'll wait for you. Really? Are you sure you won't go? I'm not going, so you can go. I'm dying of thirst. Okay, I'll get you something, and we'll take the next train, okay? Wait for me until then, okay? Yeah, yeah, okay, I'll wait for you. Good, I'm off, Saku-kun. Shiina waved her hand and disappeared into the crowd. Episode 14, Horror Film. A moment later, a train arrives at the platform. I board the train with a casual look on my face. This is a relief. I can relax until I get to school. I let out a sigh and look out the door window. Whoa. I saw Shiina staring at me, stuck to the window. Hey, what's going on? I told you not to go. Did you lie to me, Saku-kun? I'm sure you'll answer me, right? Hey, I trusted you, and you betrayed me. And I went to the store to buy water for you. So why are you doing this, and why won't you stop? Hey. A faint voice can be heard through the door, and Shiina, who was banging on the window and blabbing away. There was no life in her eyes. I have only seen this picture in horror movies, non-fictional, non-ghostly, scary horror. I can see why they say humans are the scariest. The people on the train were shocked. They all look at Shiina, who is stuck to the window, with horrified eyes and say, "Isn't that a bad idea? Should I call the police?" That's true. If I weren't a party to this, I'd be scared too. No, I'm cowering even now. I stepped away from the door and the train departed. The train was moving little by little, and Shiina was clinging to the door to keep up with it. As the speed increased, Shiina, who could no longer keep up with me, said something and stopped chasing me. I saw a slight movement of Shiina's mouth. It was saying perfectly, "I won't let you go." Hi. A chill ran down my spine. If I see her again today, I will be killed for sure. I'm not kidding. I'm not going to school. Or rather, I should not go home today. Even if I went home and shut myself in my room, Shiina would pound on the door with a knife in front of my room, saying, "Hey, open the door." After all, she might even break down the door to get in. And then she would mount me wrapped in a futon and tearfully say, "I believed in you," and stab me to death. This is a real horror movie. No, it's more like the end of school days. Episode 15, Cinema. I don't want to follow Inito Makoto's footsteps. So, I'm going to disappear today. I won't go to school. And I won't go home. I'll tell my friends that I'm absent from school. And I'll tell my parents that I'm staying at a friend's house. Even if I do disappear, I don't know what to do. I have nowhere to go. I'd have to make sure I don't go to the places I usually go. Shiina might come looking for me. So I can't go to the arcade or shopping center in front of the school station. If so, I should go to a movie theater a few stations away, 4 stops away from the nearest station to the school. I arrived at the station where the movie theater is located. I headed for the cinema, calling my friends to tell them that I was going to take a break. It's empty. It was a weekday afternoon, and the movie theater was empty. That is true. Not many people go to the movies in the middle of the day on a weekday. Well, what shall I watch? At the ticket booth, I was staring at the touch panel. Normally, I would have picked what movie to see at what time. But since I came here on a whim, I hadn't decided what to see. Let's go with something that doesn't have too long of a wait. Oh, I'll take that one. I chose a suspense film that had recently caused a stir on the internet. I heard that people like it and dislike it very much. I was just curious about it, and the time was just 20 minutes away. I chose a seat in the middle of the theater, put in 1,000 yen, and went to buy popcorn after the ticket was issued. I asked for an olive caramel popcorn and a Coke please. Popcorn and Coke are a must when you go to the movies. This is an ironclad rule. When I finished buying the popcorn, the announcement came just 10 minutes before the movie, so I moved to the designated theater. I knew there were not many people in the theater. There were only 6 people in the theater, including me. It looks like we can watch the movie quietly. As I sit down and put my phone on silent mode, advertisements start playing and the place goes dark. After the last interesting advertisement about no voyeurism, the main movie started. As I was concentrating on the movie and munching on my popcorn, I was about halfway through the movie when I saw a figure approaching from the side. The person bowed her head and finally sat down next to me. Is it someone who came from the middle of the movie? I mean, who comes to a movie in the middle of the show? Maybe he or she had made a reservation online and was late for some reason. But when I bought my ticket, the seat next to me seemed to be empty. Instead of thinking about that, let's concentrate on the movie. It's a nice place, but I don't want to ruin it by thinking about unnecessary things. I drink a Coke to refresh my palate and put my hand in the popcorn jar once more. Oh, but the only thing that hits my hand is the bottom of the container. It seems I had unconsciously finished the popcorn. I feel like I've lost a little, but I think there was a little bit left until a while ago. No, that's enough. Let's just enjoy the movie. Episode 16, Menhura, Scary. That was interesting, I whispered to myself as the end roll ended. The movie had received mixed reviews on the internet, but I personally found it interesting. As I got up from my seat, I heard the following words from the audience. This movie was interesting, wasn't it, Saku-kun? I heard a familiar voice from behind me. It was just a few hours ago. At that moment, I got the biggest chill I've ever felt. Or rather, I feel death. I fearfully turn around. Saku-kun, I didn't hear that you were going to the movie theater. There, for some reason, was Shiina with popcorn in a Ziploc bag. Why are you here? I instinctively moved away when I saw her. If she hugged me here, she would kill me. She'll either come around behind me and strangle me, or she'll stab me with a knife. I'll be killed for sure. If I run away and stay in a movie instead of going to school, I'll be killed for sure. Shiina is smiling on the surface, but I can feel the murderous intent behind it. I mean, how does this person know where I am? I've turned off the location data on my phone. Maybe there is a hidden app. I should ask her while keeping myself safe for the time being. Hey, I have a question. How did you know where I was? How do you think? Shiina leans forward and asks me how it happened. Don't do anything dull, just say it. Why are you so angry? Saku-kun so impatient. Shut up and say it. I asked her in a pissed off tone. It was you who ran away from me, wasn't it, Saku-kun? And she runs over here and grabs my hand. No, that's you lie, right? You got on the train on your own, even though I told you to wait for me, didn't you? And why are you coming to the cinema instead of going to school? Is that to get away from me? That's right, because I'm sure you ran away from me when you were on the train. What do you think? Tell me, Saku-kun. Hey, why do you run away from me? Don't you like me? Why can't I be good enough for you when I'm so devoted to you? Or did you want someone prettier, with bigger tits, and more devoted to you than me? If so, I'll try harder, I'll be prettier, I'll have bigger tits. I'll serve you better, and if I'm still not good enough, then you'll stop running away and stay with me, won't you? Without stopping, a bullet of words shoots from Shiina's mouth. Her eyes have no light and her words have no inflection. I'm scared, stop it. If you look at me like that, I'm scared stiff. Menhura, scary. If I keep talking back to her, she's going to kill me. I have to choose my words so I don't make Menhura any worse or make her angry. Episode 17, GPS. It's on. I see your point, and I'm sorry I ran away. But that has nothing to do with you knowing my location, does it? Slowly, I dismissed Shiina's hand so as not to irritate her. Then, with sad eyes, because I get anxious when I don't have Saku-kun by my side, she looks up at me, showing her cleavage. No, that's a different story, I said with a straight face. Different story? Again, Shiina's eyes lost their light. Oh, no, it's nothing. What should I do? If I speak out, I might step on a landmine, but if I don't speak, I'll be killed. Is this a dead end? No. Let's think this through and talk. I understand you're worried, but if you ask me nicely without looking at my location, I'll do the same for you, okay? I'm always asking. It's not that you're asking me, it's that you're forcing me to do it, and I'm just avoiding it. Am I that pushy? Well, you'd have to ask around to find out, but you're being very pushy. I see. Shiina cowered her shoulders. Okay, if I keep going like this, it looks like I'm going to be okay. Now if I don't screw up, it will be perfect. So, tell me about the location information, will you? That way I'll feel safer and you won't have to worry about it. If I tell you, will you stay with me? I'll do my best. Really? I swear I didn't say I'd stay with you. I'm just saying I'll take care of it. So, will you forgive me? I ask her, trailing off. Of course. How can I not forgive my favorite Saku-kun? Shiina hugged me with a big smile on her face. It seems I've been forgiven. Normally, I hate this kind of reaction, but right now, it makes me feel relieved. So, right? How do I know where Saku-kun is? Shiina pulls out her phone and shows me a certain screen. GPS. It's on, she said with a bright smile. Episode 18. How much are you using? Where? Hearing this, my face, which had been mild-mannered so as not to offend Shiina, becomes sharp. Hey, where are you putting the GPS? I say, lowering my voice and glaring at her. I don't want to tell you that. I don't want you to take it away from me. Besides, what's the point of finding one? She smiles and pokes me on the bridge of my nose. So, I take a deep breath and suppress the feeling that I'm about to lose my temper. Until this time, I had been mild-mannered so as not to offend her. But I can imagine a more horrifying scene if she gets angry here, so I'm going to hold it in. I want you to take off the GPS because it makes me anxious. Anxious? What's making you anxious? I don't feel comfortable when I'm being watched all the time. I'd feel more comfortable if I had you watching me all the time. I suppressed the urge to say, I'm not like you, you bastard. The GPS makes me want to leave Shiina, so I want you to take it off. Does that mean, if I remove the GPS, you'll want to stay with me? That would increase the possibility. What am I talking about? I'm just making a stopgap measure, but isn't that a bombshell? I'm about to get in trouble. Really? Then I'll gladly take it off. Shiina's face lit up and she began to touch me, telling me to hold still. Let's see. Here, 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 and, oh, here, and this one, too. As she mumbles on and on, the GPS comes off my body out of nowhere, the second button, the back of my collar, the sides of my shoes, the crevice of a small pocket in my bag. How many of these things was I wearing? Isn't it usually just one or something? This is not the level of just in case. That's all of them. After removing all of them, Shiina puts them in her bag. This is really all of them, right? There's not a single one left, is there? I checked while touching my own body. I have never lied to you, have I? That's all there is. If you ask. She has never lied to me, even though she is a persistent and annoying person. No matter what kind of ghastly things she did, she's never wrapped her arms around it. No matter how gruesome it is, I don't let it go. This seems to be trustworthy. Episode 19, Secret. A weight has been lifted from my shoulders, but then there's something else that's been bothering me. I've been wondering since a few minutes ago. What's with the popcorn in the Ziploc? I've been holding it in my hand since the movie ended. But what the hell is it for? I looked at her hand and said, oh, this is what Saku-kun was eating earlier, right? She puts the Ziploc on her cheek and tilts her head. Huh? That's the popcorn that Saku-kun was eating just now. No, I mean, why are you putting it in the Ziploc instead of eating it? Because you grabbed it with your bare hands, right, Saku? Saku grabbed it with his bare hands and touched it with your mouth, right? Now, here's the problem. Why am I putting it in the Ziploc? I'm asking you that right now? The correct answer is, it was to store it because it is Saku-kun's genes on it. Shiina cheerfully makes psychopathic remarks. I stand there cowering and exclaiming, it's too much of a mystery what kind of life you lead to think like this. I spent almost every day with her as a close childhood friend until the second year of junior high school. And I thought I was watching her life from the side. I thought I was standing next to her, watching her life, but I was surprised at how much a person can change in 2 years. During that time, she was still attached to me. I didn't realize how abnormal she was. I had noticed an escalation in her behavior. So, the reason I don't eat this popcorn? No, thanks. I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna use it. This popcorn. Don't open your mouth anymore. But what I do with this popcorn at home is a secret. Shiina, with a slight blush on her cheeks, puts her index finger on her lips. I don't want to know or think about. That too horrifying. HNN, if you want to know so much, I'll tell you. I'm not that much of an evil person myself. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, I yelled at her, reminding her not to say anything. Oh, really? I hope it turns you on to have me sneak around behind your back. Just let it be that way already. I can almost see what she's going to do. She's going to bring home some popcorn, with my genes, and put it in her womb and play pregnant. And the day after she does that, she's going to come back with another Rekka photo she picked up off the internet. This is predictable, and that's why I don't want to hear it. Episode 20, Love Hotels Are Not Allowed. This is not going to get us anywhere. I scratched my head and left Shiina alone as I was about to leave the place. Talking any longer would only make me tired. I've taken time off from school, but I can't stand it. Hey, where are you going? Shiina grabbed my hand as I ran away. Wherever it is, I'm going home. You're going home? Of course I'm returning. There's no point in going anywhere anymore. It's such a waste to go home. It would be a waste of my time. Let's play. It's just the two of us. No. I try to shake off the arm of Shiina, who is pulling my arm and spoiling me, but my hand stops. If I refuse here, I fear for my life. I've already experienced how she reacts when I say no. Besides, I have a record today. Tomorrow, Shiina will forget about today and won't be angry at me no matter what I do, but not today. Instead of running away, it would be best for me to go to a place where I can be with her and satisfy her with less burden, considering the future. So I thought to myself, where are you going? I put on my best fake smile. Then, perhaps thinking that I was really getting on board. You're going? She rolled her eyes as she shook her body. Oh, I'm not saying I'll go anywhere. Really? I'll go wherever you want. If it's as quiet as possible, and still a place where high school kids can go. If I don't say something like this, I might be taken to a love hotel. I want to avoid this. Hearing this, Shiina said. Then, love hotels are no good. Shiina cowered. I'm glad I mentioned it first. I knew I should have anticipated what she was going to say before I said it. No. In that case I'm going home. Then I'll go with the date plan I was thinking of during the movie. Oh, I didn't know you were thinking of that. Okay. Now that we've decided, let's get going. Shiina clung to my arm and walked ahead of me. Saku-kun, get that thing. A few dozen minutes later, we were at the game arcade in the shopping mall closest to the school. And now, Shiina was jumping up and down and pointing at a crane game with a stuffed seal as a prize. Was the game center the goal of this person? I really thought I could spend a quiet time by watching a movie again, but I was forced to go with her. If it was a movie, she would have just taken my popcorn, but of course I didn't like that either. In a video arcade, I would have to waste time talking to this person. Besides, there is a devilish machine called Pura. I have a very bad feeling, like the worst is waiting for me. Episode 21, Sugar Daddy Says Life. So you want to do this? I say in front of the crane game Shiina once. Yes, I want you to take this. Will be satisfied if I get it? Yes, super satisfied. Well, there's a lot more I want you to do, but I guess I'm satisfied for now, huh? Oh yeah, I reply in disgust and take out a 100 yen coin from my wallet and put it into the slot of the crane game. The machine started playing light music and counting down the seconds to move the crane. Go, Saku-kun, go go go. Shiina cheered from the side, using all her strength in vain. Shut up, you're distracting me. If I cheer you on, you'll get it right away. I'll get it if you shut up. That's a lie. You'll get it better with my support. Just shut up. I was yelling at her, concentrating on what was right in front of me. Oh. I couldn't get it. See, I told you I should be the one cheering for you. Shiina said proudly, but no matter how much she cheered me on, I couldn't get it. 100 yen, 100 yen, and another 100 yen. There was no sign that I could get it at all. More, you have to grab me by the buttocks to get it. Shiina gradually changed from cheering to instructing me. I was not so sure about that. I'm a beginner at crane games, just playing a little when I come with my friends. I'm not a pro, so how can I aim accurately? No, 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 it slides there, doesn't it? You have to grab it by the tail more. Shiina shakes my arm in spite of my manipulation. I'm going to grab your head, I say with a click of my tongue. HNN. What did you say? No, nothing. I quickly cover up my true feelings with a cold sweat. Who do you think is making me miss the target? If you want me to aim accurately, don't wave my arm around. Wouldn't it be faster and less expensive if you took it yourself instead of giving me advice? Don't worry about the money. I have plenty of it right here. Shiina searched through his bag and pulled out an envelope from the bank. What's this? This is the money to pay tribute to Saku-kun. She pulled out a wad of bills with a belt from inside the envelope and smiled. Hey, wait a minute. Putting aside the question of how you are going to pay me tribute, where did you get the money? This person doesn't make the money by doing daddy's business or something, does she? Otherwise, this wad of cash is ridiculous. Even if she was working part-time, there's no way a high school girl could have come up with a wad of money all in yukichi, money that is used to pay off a debtor's debt. Besides, I've never heard of this person having a part-time job. Oh, this money? I earned it, all of it. It's for Saku-kun. No, what I want to know is how you got the money. If she was doing daddy's business, I would have to stop her. No matter how much I dislike this person, I have to correct this wrong path. It is not because we are childhood friends. It is as a human being. Well, I don't know if what I said will have any effect because I've never been able to correct the behavior that made her think she was going out with me. Didn't I tell Saku-kun? Shiina takes out her phone and shows me a certain screen. What's this? It's a magazine cover. Why is a magazine cover shown on? Is this you? Yes. It's too late to notice. The cover of the magazine I was shown had the model Yukiho Shiina clearly written on it. Episode 22, so that's what it is. A model? Yes, I'm a fashion model. All of my money comes from appearances. I also get interviews from time to time, so there's that, too. I had no idea. Why don't you tell me that important part? What? I thought your mom would have told you. You think my parents know? Yeah, because they pick me up and drop me off. That old hag. Why does she always talk about unnecessary things, but never tells me what I need to know? Let's talk about it when I get home. But still, this person is a model. I don't deny that she's a beautiful girl, and everyone agrees that she's a beauty when it comes to her looks. The only problem is her personality and her abnormal obsession with me alone. Abnormal love usually means a bad personality, but since she is a fashion model, a job that only involves being photographed, she doesn't have to worry about being exposed. That's probably why this person is able to do this job. If she were a celebrity, her skin would be peeled right off and she would end up in flames. Now I know where the money comes from. New information has come to light that she was not engaged in any dubious activities and was earning money as a fashion model. So, the next question was, I'll change the subject. What's the reason you don't take the money yourself? Is there a reason you want me to take it? This is it. This is the biggest mystery. Is there any reason to make me take it? And even though Shiina wants me to take it, she interferes, perhaps unconsciously, which is inconsistent. I'm not sure if you understand, Saku-kun, the reason why I have no idea. You don't understand the female mind, do you? I don't understand, I said to her. Isn't it ideal to have your boyfriend take your stuffed animal? Every girl wants that. She gives me puppy dog eyes. Oh? I naturally let out a husky voice at that reason. Oh? No, Saku-kun. Girls, you know, they want to get a stuffed animal that their boyfriend took from them once and said, "Here, I'll give it to you." That's a staple in arcade games. The basic premise is that I'm not your boyfriend, and I'm not going to let you take it from me and give it to you, right? It will be. Girls want to enjoy the atmosphere and that's what they do. Shiina insists while stomping on the ground. I have no idea what's good about it. Is this really what all the girls are thinking? To me, it just seems like Shiina is saying it on her own. Maybe her brain is the Alice of Wonder. This is exactly what I mean by daydreaming. Yes, I see. If I get into this too much, I might get into trouble. so I'll just let it slide and get a stuffed animal or something and get this over with. Episode 23, Satisfied. I don't have to worry about money, and crane games are just probability machines. I've put in about 2,000 yen now, so I should be able to get the arm with a stronger probability by now. I let out a sigh, put a 100 yen coin into the machine, and put my hand on the lever and the button. That's it. Fight, Saku-kun. Shiina is still cheering me on, not caring about the stares of those around her. Damn, that's really distracting. While sticking out my tongue, I concentrate on the crane game in front of me. As Shiina told me to do, I lowered the arm toward the buttocks, which were getting heavier. The arm that went down caught the target spot, and gradually went up, grabbing the stuffed animal. Each time, the stuffed animal would fall as it moved to the entrance to be acquired. Oh, keep going. Go for it, my stuffed animal. This time, the probability was right, and as the toy moved to the bottom of the prize opening with a firm hold, the arm opened and the stuffed animal fell out. Shiina vigorously pulled the stuffed animal out of the extraction slot as a pop sound of prize acquisition played. Are you satisfied with this? I let out a sigh of relief when I finally got it. But I can't imagine she'll be satisfied with just this. I am sure that she will demand something even more outrageous after this. I braced myself for it. Yes, I'm satisfied. Thanks, Saku-kun. She just hugged the stuffed animal and thanked me with a big smile on her face. Well, I'm glad. I took my eyes off Shiina for a moment. Damn, she's so cute and unexpected. What's with that murderous smile? It's so cute that it makes me not care about her bad behavior up until now. Well, it's not like that, but it's annoying when she suddenly makes a face like that. Are you embarrassed, Saku-kun? I looked away, but Shiina looked into my face, raising the corners of her mouth. I'm not embarrassed, on the contrary. Why would I be embarrassed in this situation? My smile is too cute to be shy? How can that be? There was a pause that was easy to understand just now, right? I'm having a little trouble with my speech. There was some popcorn stuck in my teeth. I was trying to cover it up by moving the inside of my mouth. If that's the case, I'll get the popcorn for you. Suddenly Shiina held my cheeks with both hands and gradually brought my face closer to hers. What are you doing? I moved my face away from her, breaking out in a cold sweat, but Shiina, who is trying to keep me from escaping, puts her strength into her face. And with a blush on her cheeks, what do you mean? I'm going to kiss you and take it off you. Episode 24, I'm going to clean you up, okay? Don't be stupid. I'm not stupid, I'm serious. I can get that much by myself. I don't understand why you have to kiss it off. I don't know what you mean by taking it out with a kiss. I'm going to clean your mouth while kissing you, Saku-kun, okay? With my tongue. Are you crazy? Really? I think it's normal for couples to do that. I was basically screwed. How many hundreds or thousands of times do I have to tell you that we are not dating? I'm getting tired of saying it, you know? Saku-kun's dirt, let me get it off you. Saying that, she closes her eyes and brings her lips close to mine. Very bad. I can't escape because Shiina is holding my face with a force that I don't think of as a girl's. Think of a way to get out of this situation. As my brain is fully engaged, an idea comes to me. I can fake my lips with my index and middle fingers. No, this is no good. Shiina will surely put her tongue in. That's what she wants. I'll be exposed in an instant. Then I'll have to leave behind my black history. Shiina might use it for something bad, but it's the only way. Purakura, I'll take Purakura with you. Just don't do it. Shiina stopped where my mouth was about to come to an end in a few more centimeters when I heard that. What do you think? I think it's not a bad proposition, I say as she carefully backs away from my face, her hand weakening. You said Purakura just now, didn't you? The person who is the most popular is Shiina, who turns her head down while making a low voice. I said it, but no, was it a failure? I guess I can't win a kiss with just a Purakura. I'm going to be prepared for this. I gently closed my eyes and prepared for the kiss. Saku-kun, will you take a Pura with me? I heard a bright voice from behind my eyelids. When I opened my eyes, I saw Shiina jumping up and down with a very happy expression on her face. It seemed to be a great success. Well, if it's just a Pura, it's definitely better than kissing. It's not like I'm going to be directly harmed. It could traumatize me for the rest of my life to have Shiina's tongue lick around inside my mouth. I'll get gynophobia. I don't like the idea of my black history, but it's better than a kiss. Yeah, I know. Episode 25, Personality Only. Purikura with Saku-kun. Shiina walks in front of me, humming and skipping. What is this undeniable couple feeling? From the other side, I guess they just think of me as a boyfriend who is being pushed around by a selfish and cute girlfriend. I don't want to be thought of as a couple by the people around me, even more than I want to be thought of as a couple by the people around me. We're not really a couple, and this person is just delusional. It's just her personality though, I mutter to myself as I look at Shiina's back. She's a beautiful girl that everyone recognizes, and she's also a fashion model. And she is devoted to me. If only she could get rid of her personality and abnormal behavior, she would be the best girl in the world. What's wrong, Saku-kun? As I was thinking, Shiina turned around and tilted her head. Even this gesture would probably end up as just a pretty girl in the eyes of passers-by. It's nothing. I sniffs and heads past Shiina to the Pura corner. What? Saku-kun seems to be getting into it too. Shiina follows along, smiling with a smile in her eyes. I didn't know there were so many Pura these days. I gulp when I get to the Pura corner. The Pura machines spread out all over the area. Just at a glance, there are more than 10 machines. Which one do you want to take a picture with, Saku-kun? Shiina taps me on the shoulder. Which one? What changes depending on the machine? I haven't taken a Pura properly for the past 2 years. The last time I took a picture was with my ex-girlfriend. No, let's not talk about this. It's a bitter memory. I don't even want to remember it. Well, that's going to change. What exactly? The degree of heightening. Oh, you mean the effect of bigger eyes, a smaller face, and beautiful skin? That's right. What's the point of taking Pura if you can't make it look good? Then you don't have to take them. No. I'm going to take a picture today, whether it's a good one or not. It's a done deal. Holding up her index finger. I honestly didn't think it would make much difference which one I chose. This one is fine. I pointed my finger at random. Oh, you have good taste, Saku-kun. Shiina pulled my hand and quickly moved to the Pura machine I pointed to. What? Is this a winning machine? Yes, it is. It's a hot topic among JKs these days. My friends were raving about how it's super serious. That's great. Come to think of it, Shiina is a JK, right? It's like it's the second time in my life that I've been on the inside. To be honest, I don't care if it's a big deal or not. I don't even know if I'm looking at the little details or not. Well then, let's take a picture. Saku-kun. She took 400 yen out of her wallet, put it in the machine, and pulled my hand to take me inside. Episode 26. Do you want to go somewhere where we can be alone? Put down your bags and move over to the camera. Along with the pop music, the sparkling voice of the pre-camera gives us instructions. It's been so long. Looking inside, I follow the instructions and put down my luggage. It's been a while, Saku-kun. When was the last time you took a Pura? Shiina asks me with a sideways glance as she fixes her hair. 2 years ago, in the summer. Shiina turns her head slightly and her voice turns dark. The summer of 2 years ago. When Shiina hears this, she also narrows her voice apologetically. I'm sorry, Saku-kun. It's okay, it's already past. Don't worry about it. I forced to smile, but you've been looking forward to Pura, haven't you? Let's take pictures without thinking about anything else. Don't worry about Chisaku-chan. It's a lie. That's a lie. Don't mention her name. For Saku-kun, Chisaku-chan is definitely not a thing of the past. I can never not care about it from now on. Because, Saku-kun is don't mention that name. Don't mention Chisaku's name. I yell at her, and her voice gets quieter and quieter, and tears start to well up from somewhere. Saku-kun. No. It's okay now. Sorry. I said, apologizing while rubbing her eyes. I'm the one who should be apologizing for giving you a hard time. It's okay, I'm sorry too. You don't have to take Purecure anymore. I don't want you to have a hard time. I suggested it, so it's okay. I'm not a good girlfriend for not realizing how you feel. Who's my girlfriend? I chuckle as I sniffle. We walked out as the Purecure was getting ready to take pictures with music playing. Saku-kun, I have something I want to talk to you about, so why don't we go somewhere where we can be alone? Shiina looks into my face and suggests in a gentle voice. She didn't sound like she was planning to do anything, but she did. I don't mind if you ask me what we want to talk about first. I can't feel safe if I don't hear it. In addition, I'm sure I'll remember it when I go home and play the game. So, it might be better to distract myself by getting involved with Shiina. It's better than remembering. I'm not saying we should go because we can't talk here. Shiina's cheeks puffed up. I'll go with you if you don't go to strange places and don't do strange things. I'm not going anywhere. And I won't do anything weird, so just follow me. Shiina pulls my hand. The hand seemed to be squeezed tighter than usual. Episode 27, Summer 2 years ago. A little heavy. Let's talk a little about the old days. That's fun. Saku. 2 years ago, during the spring and summer of my 8th grade year, I had a girlfriend. Her name was Taki Chisato. She was a good friend of mine in the same class at the time. She had shiny semi-long black hair with a cherry blossom pin in the front. It was her trademark. She was popular with everyone because of her affable personality and sparkling smile. In April, when the same cherry blossoms as her hairpin bloomed, when we switched classes, she confessed her feelings for me. Of course, I immediately responded, and this was the beginning of a relationship between me and Chisato as lovers. Shiina was more than happy to give her blessing, and she helped me in many ways, such as making plans with me before our date and helping me decide what to wear. I think my life was smooth sailing for a junior high school student. However, such a life did not last forever. In the middle of summer vacation in late July, Chisato and I went to a summer festival. We took Purecure pictures and promised to cherish them for the rest of our lives. I promised her when we parted at the station that I would cherish her forever. But that promise became something only I could keep. We broke up. In a way, you could say we broke up. Chisato-chan, I heard she had an accident. I don't know the circumstances yet, but let's head to the hospital as soon as possible. A phone call from her mother left me speechless, but I didn't have time to think about it. I ran home and headed to the hospital immediately. Chisato's mother and my mother were in the PTA together, so it seems they had been involved with each other and were good friends. When I told her that we were dating, she was overjoyed. If my mother and Chisato's mother had not been involved, I would not have received that phone call. I shudder to think about it now. When I got to the hospital, the doctor told me, "We did our best, but..." And that was it. Everyone there was in despair. A few hours after taking Purecure pictures at a summer festival and promising to cherish her for the rest of my life, she died and we broke up. This is what happened summer 2 years ago. Bitter memories of my ex-girlfriend and Purecure. It was right around that time. Shiina's distance from me became strange. Wherever I go, whatever I do, Shiina cares and worries about me. At first, I thought she was taking pity on me for losing my girlfriend, but it gradually escalated. By the time I entered junior high school, I was in almost the same situation as I am now, and she was imagining on her own that she was dating me. Maybe this girl went crazy because I worried too much. Maybe I was the cause. I still keep it in my wallet. Chisato and Yukata and me in a jinbai, smiling, doing the peace, pinching each other's cheeks, and bag-hugging each other while blushing for the first time. And between the two of us is a Purecure with "I'll love you forever" written in large letters, like a junior high school couple. Episode 28, about Shiina. Let me tell you about me. I was brought to karaoke by Shiina. Shiina, sitting opposite me, is humming a tune while drinking melon soda through a straw and operating the touch screen that turns on the song. Why are we at karaoke? There were other places to go. If it was at my house, it would be across the street and I could go straight home. After we're done talking, we can sing right here. I was hoping it would cheer you up. I don't think singing will cheer me up. That's up to you, Saku-kun. I nodded in my chair. Well, let's get down to business. Shall we? Shiina drank the melon soda she had ordered and turned serious. The main topic. I have no idea what we are going to talk about this time. However, I'm sure it won't be something weird like it usually is. I also drink coffee and look at Shiina. I thought I'd tell you why I'm a fashion model. The reason? Yes, I'm sure you think I'm doing it because you think I'm cute or something, don't you? I won't deny it, but I'm sorry. That's not true. Really? The truth is, Shiina stood up and moved next to me. It's so that I don't make Saku-kun uneasy, she said as she laid her head on my shoulder. After Chisato-chan death, you lost the meaning of life. No matter what I did, Saku-kun seemed to be bored, and no matter what you ate, it didn't seem to taste good. So I thought about what I could do for him. That is, to be there for him no matter what, and to do that, I needed money. But I'm a junior high school student, so I can't even get a part-time job. That's why I chose modeling. A job that even a junior high school student can earn money. I didn't realize that. And you know what? To be honest, I had liked Saku-kun since then. When I heard that he was going out with Chisato-chan, I had mixed feelings, but when I saw him smiling, I was really happy that they were a couple. Now that Chisato-chan is gone, the only thing I can do to be by his side is to go out with him. I thought it was a black-hearted way, but I'm okay with being Chisato-chan's second. If it heals his wounds, he will use it whenever he wants and throw it away. That's all I have to do. That's why I still insist on seeing you, and that won't change in the future. If you had someone like me, you wouldn't be able to think about anything else, would you? You can't even think about Chisato-chan. Think only of me. You shouldn't have said it like that. Saku-kun, you have been smiling more since I started to make strange contact with you. I really liked it. Even if you don't like me, I want to protect your smile. Then, is it for my sake that you're saying we're together? Well, I guess it's more of a personal thing, isn't it? I'm sorry to hear that, but I did not think Shiina was thinking that seriously. I thought she was acting in a self-centered way, but she was thinking and acting properly. For me and for Chisato, I can only say that I am grateful for this. When I think about it, for better or worse, since Shiina got involved, I've only been thinking about her. That's why I thank you, Shiina. I did what I usually never do. I patted Shiina on the head and thanked her. Episode 29, Just Sing. Aggressive for a Saku-kun. Shiina blushes as she lowers her voice. This is the only way I can be thankful. Thank you. You're surprisingly kind and think a lot about things, you know. I'm actually very kind. The woman's cheeks puffed up. It's a bit of a personality, but it's also a way of thanking you for being so kind to me. I patted her head. Then, a complicated expression appeared on her face. Whether she was happy or dissatisfied. Well, if you want to thank me, all you have to do is go out with me. That's absolutely impossible. Saku-kun, you really don't understand the heart of a girl, do you? That's why I went out with Chisato, right? If you say that, I can't say anything back to you, and it pisses me off. Right? I was a little smug. I'm getting annoyed with Saku-kun's smug face. I'm going to sing now. Shiina suddenly picked up the microphone and shouted into it, "Hey, you're being so loud all of a sudden. That's enough. Saku-kun, you bullying virgin, you're a coward. Suddenly you're talking out of your ass. I'm going to put those feelings into a song." A moment later, the intro to the song begins. The title of the song is When I Called Delusion, You Came. Shiina sings it enthusiastically with a light head bang. This scene is kind of chaotic. The room was filled with the sound of Shiina singing, Delusion Karaku Kiki Magakita. Shiina's singing voice echoes in the room. I was in a complicated position watching it. Ha ha ha. How was it? After she finished singing, Shiina wiped the sweat from her forehead, chugged her melon soda, and made a smug face. Thanks a lot. I felt kind of bad. The lyrics "girl with short hair and good at attacking" and "petite girl" sound too much like this person. I didn't call Dira hell, but yes, it's complicated. Well, I'm going to play one more song. Next, I'll play a calmer song. Shiina chose the next song, Kimi ni Daikatai Feet, in Awanichi. The words in the chorus of this song, "Hey, in your world, am I breathing properly?" are, "Just a little more, I want to hold you close and drown in a dream of just the two of us." This also sounds like something from Shiina's mind, which I don't like. Wait, if the conversation is over, I can leave, can't I? There's no reason for me to be here, right? Can I go home? When Shiina finishes singing, I raise my hand in a small gesture. Then, of course not, I'm going to entertain Saku-kun with my singing today. She immediately replies, "I'm not having fun at all though. From now on, I'm going to entertain you, you'll see." "No, I'm leaving." "Yes, I've already put in 6 songs, and I'll make sure you listen to them." As she typed at high speed, the songs appeared one after another on the screen. "For real? I'm serious. Now please listen to." Shiina takes a deep breath and starts singing again. "Well, this much is okay. Today, I'm going to go along with Shiina as a sign of my gratitude to her." I blurted out, my voice drowned out by Shiina's singing. Episode 30. I won't let you sleep tonight. I'm tired today. I go home and collapse on my bed in my room and mutter this to my pillow. I remember the past, hear about Shiina, and my head is in turmoil. I need to give my head a rest. I'm going to take a nap and play a game when I'm free of my mind. That way, I can forget about today for a bit. It's no use having it in a corner of my memory. I put on some soothing jazz on the speakers, turn off the lights in the room, and pull the covers over my head. After a few minutes, my mind is soothed by the music and my eyelids gradually become heavier. After a while, I lose consciousness again. Rustling, rustling, rustling. What is it? I was awakened by the sound of the futon rubbing against the floor and a strange sensation in my abdomen. I remember this feeling. It was recently this morning. I noticed it and slowly turned the futon over. Sure enough, there it is. "You can't go to bed at this hour. I won't let you sleep at night." Shiina was there with her clothes bare. "What are you doing? Huh? Aren't you surprised, Saku-kun?" "I thought you'd be more surprised. This is the second time today." "I'm used to it." "What a boring guy." She puffed out her cheeks. "Hurry up and get out." I gave her a sharp look, but Shiina just fell toward me without thinking about it. "Didn't you hear me tell you to get out of the way just now? Did you say that?" "But I won't move." "Huh? Get out." "No." She pokes me in the nose. "I won't let you sleep tonight." She whispered sweetly in my ear. I was too tired to yell at her, so I got up with Shiina. "Huh?" I let out a big sigh. "You're not mad at me today, are you, Saku-kun?" I was so tired of getting up and yelling at her. I looked up from my prone position and took her by the shoulders. "I'm sorry, I take back what I said at karaoke. I really hate you." "Don't say that," I said in a cold-blooded voice, and Shiina got teary-eyed. Episode 31, Magazine Interview. Phew, I guess it's time to call it quits. After I got rid of Shiina, I played the game mindlessly and the time was 12:30 across the date. It's time to go to bed. I have school today. I lay down on my bed and picked up a magazine. Seriously, that girl's a model. I'm reading a fashion magazine with Shiina on the cover. I was curious about it when I was leaving and ended up buying it at a convenience store. It's not just pictures, it's an interview, too. As I was flipping through the magazine, the interview page caught my eye. It was an interview with model Yukio-san. The interviewer said, "Do you have a boyfriend right now?" Yukio: "Yes, I have a boyfriend of the same age." Interviewer: "What is he like?" Yukio: "He is a gentleman who is kind and always thinks about me. Besides, we've known each other since childhood and even live next door to each other." Interviewer: "Well, that's great. He's truly a man of destiny." Yukio: "Yes, it's fate. I will never leave him for the rest of my life. This is me, isn't it?" I jump up from the bed and slam the magazine on the floor. What is she talking about? And on a place where it will be broadcast to the whole world. It's not enough to tell people at school that we're dating. No, that's bad enough, but saying it in a magazine interview would be a case of a blowout. Exhaling roughly, I immediately took out my phone, unblocked Shiina's line, and made a phone call. Pick up. That guy. I don't care if it's the middle of the night. I'm going to feel bad if I don't snap at this person, even if it's over the phone right now. After about 3 calls, I hear the phone ring. What's the matter, Saku-kun? It's already midnight. The yawning Shiina picked up the phone. That. Could it be? You got lonely? Shut up and listen to me for once. I'll listen to you because I can't help it. Interview in a magazine. You did it. I yelled at her while keeping my voice down and stomped on the magazine on the floor. Episode 32, we can do it every night, okay? I was so pissed off that I didn't even care. You bought the magazine I'm in? Shiina's voice brightens. You bought it right away, Saku-kun. You must really like me. Can't you tell by my voice that I'm mad at you? I thought you were raising your voice because I was too cute in the magazine. I respect your positive attitude. How easygoing are you? If you have that kind of mentality, I wish you could be more useful. So, how do you explain it? I ask again about the magazine. I just answered what the interviewer asked me, okay? I know what you're talking about. I'm asking you what you answered. What do you mean by response? I just gave a normal answer. You said you have a childhood sweetheart? That's right. I introduced Saku-kun without mentioning his name. Shiina screamed like a maiden. You've got to be kidding me. What's the matter, Saku-kun? Don't play dumb with me. What? It's time you stop lying to the world and stop fantasizing that you're dating me. I'll lose my temper. I yelled at her. You're already pissed. You do it all the time. It's natural. But then, wouldn't it be easier for you to admit it? I can't do it. Because, everyone knows I won't break down. I think it's better for you to admit that you're in a relationship with me. Why do I have only a disadvantage? I think there's a lot of benefit, Of course not. If you're going to go out with me. I took a breath. We could have it every night, she says in a sweet voice, letting out a little breath. What the hell are you talking about? The guy who tried to attack me in my bed before we started dating. It doesn't matter if we're going out or not. If I let herself in, she's going to attack me without mercy. It doesn't matter if it's morning, noon or night, she'll attack me without even thinking about me. TCH, Saku-kun, you can't catch a fish, you're so stubborn. I'm Saku-kun's little bugger. It's nothing to be proud of. I wish she'd turn into a cicada, because she'll be dead in 7 days. Now she's like a mosquito or a leech. No matter how hard I try to get rid of it, it still sticks to me, but it's more stubborn than that. Even if I spray it with insecticide, it won't die. Episode 33, Hey, Saku-kun, can you open a window on my side of the house? Shiina suddenly changes the subject and makes a suggestion. Why? Because you can see something good. The good things she says are only bad things to me. I can guess what she's talking about. If I open the window, I will see Shiina waving her hand from the window of her room on the opposite side of the room, completely naked, with her breasts emphasized. Or she will write "I love you, Saku-kun" on a large piece of construction paper and show it to me completely naked. Either way, she is still completely naked. Why don't you look? I've already finished getting ready. What are you getting ready for? It's for Saku-kun's pleasure. I'll pass. And I hung up the phone. If I had seen it, the scene would be burned into my brain for the rest of my life. But that doesn't mean I don't care. I don't want to look at it openly, but if I just peek at it, it won't do much damage. Just a peek. I headed for the window and gently opened the curtains. Shiina's room is directly across the street, and I had forgotten to close the curtains halfway. The scene I could see through the window was that she was wearing underwear, but it was not a show bra like she always shows me, but a full black pair of her competition underwear. It was erotic. In addition, she was holding a Makey pen and a large sheet of construction paper. The paper was decorated with heart stickers and lame, and it said, "Let's have sex," was written on the paper. I was glad I didn't open it right then and there. If I had opened the window, I would have been embarrassed to react. If I were to sneak a look like this, no matter how erotic I looked at it, it wouldn't do me any good. But if Shiina saw my reaction, she would be overjoyed. She said she was excited by her own body. Closing the curtains, I fall into bed. Let's forget about this. I'm going to go to bed, forget all about it, and come back in the morning. But first, I get up from the bed and barricade the door with a chest of drawers. Now it looks like Shiina won't be able to get in. I took all the necessary precautions, and with a sense of relief, I went to sleep. But however, dong 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 dong. Saku-kun, what's the matter, Saku-kun? Why won't the door open? Hey, maybe while I could not get in. Hey, what's going on? You don't want me to wake you up in the morning, because that's what happens when you don't let me in the room, right? Shiina babbling on and on forever while banging on the door. This is the worst I've ever seen. It looks like a horror movie. Episode 34, let's go. It's finally just the two of us. Saku-kun. Hey, don't take off your clothes. This is a karaoke room. The next room is a big room with about 10 classmates singing happily, while Shiina and I are alone in a separate room. I'm on the sofa, and Shiina is in front of me, gasping for breath, as she slowly pulls out the buttons of her shirt. Her light blue bra peeks out. Her bloodshot eyes stare at my lower body, drooling. Now, let's confirm our love for each other. Shiina gradually closes the distance between us. I do my best to hold back my face. In contrast, my son is getting hard. How did this happen? Section. Let's go to karaoke. Yeah. A week later, after the midterm test, my classmates suddenly started to make a commotion. I was going home quietly in the middle of it all. Hey, of course Saku is coming too, right? With a big smile on his face, Hazuki tapped me on the shoulder and called out to me. Yamaoka Hazuki, my friend from high school. He is the centerpiece of the class, trusted by everyone because of his affable personality, and most importantly, he is very popular. He is so handsome that he is almost annoying. No, I want to go. He slowly turns his gaze towards Shiina as he say, she's right there, isn't she? Yes, if I leave here, I'll have some time alone. As you know from the other day, Shiina likes to sing. So, when it comes to class launches and karaoke, she won't refuse. Probably. Well, she'll probably force me to go with her, or she'll come over to my house and sing at home, saying, if you don't come to karaoke, you can listen to my singing here. Don't worry about that, Yukiho, Hazuki says, drinking a carton of strawberry milk. Do you have a plan? Well, it's not really a plan. We all talked it over. We all talked about it so that Saku could enjoy himself at least today. Oh, thanks a lot. I'm sure it's exhausting being like that every day. I'm going to die of exhaustion. I'm sorry to hear that. It's hard to watch from the sidelines. Shut up. So what did you come up with? Have Miho and Sana hold Yukiho back, and I'll be your bodyguard. We'll physically break off contact. Miho and Sana are Shiina's friends. Do you think that's going to stop her? Well, I think it's worth a try. Yes, it's worth it. It's better than nothing. You'll come, right? Karaoke. Let's go. Episode 35, Blow Up. In return, you'll take full responsibility, okay? Oh, my strawberry milk. I took the strawberry milk in his hand and said as he drank it, what do you mean, responsible for what? Of course, I'm talking about Shiina. Responsibility? You mean like managerial responsibility? Yes, like a manager's responsibility. Don't let her touch me today. You're usually the one in charge, so I'll give you a break. When did I become her manager? You've been her manager since high school. I'm not. So you're her boyfriend now? I'm not even her boyfriend. That's not possible. I can't imagine me and Shiina going out, at all. When I try to imagine it in my head, I get a headache and I feel like I'm going to throw up. You're so easygoing, aren't you, with no strings attached? I've got strings, too, you know? What is it? What's more restrictive than me? I'm getting a little argumentative. I'm under a lot of stress because of Shiina. I feel like I'm going to break a blood vessel when someone who doesn't understand this pain says to me, I'm more tied up than you are. Of course I have a girlfriend, too. Your girlfriend is your string? Isn't that so? I don't have much time for you guys because I prioritize my girlfriend, and I don't have much time for myself. I'm happy, so I don't mind. Eh? What? I'm going to kill you. And I go behind Hazuki's back and tighten his neck. Don't you dare talk shit to me, this person. How do you think I feel when I'm dealing with Shiina? If it were the other way around, you'd be hanging yourself right now, wouldn't you? No, well, I wouldn't go that far, but there's a lot going on over here too. Shut up, your life is not tied up. It's just a rear end. Yeah, blow up. But if you do, you won't be able to deal with Sana smoothly. Sana's doing a lot. That's right, I'm asking her to do it. Sana thinks Shiina's too much. Anyone would think that was too much. Well, I think for a week or so, you will be satisfied with the life of being cherished, but after that, it will be hell, and if someone depends on you, you will never be able to escape. Like me. Well, I have the added chain of being a childhood friend. Episode 36. I can't keep her down. So, enjoy your karaoke today in peace. If you don't get over your test fatigue here, you'll have a tough time at school starting tomorrow, okay? He claps his hands and says in a cheerful voice, no, I'm more tired of dealing with Shiina interrupting me while I'm studying in my room than I am tired of studying for the test, you know? Ah, I see. Also, school life is tough, and it's the same every day. Even my personal life is tough, okay? Somehow, sorry. Hazuki patted me apologetically. Stop making that face. It is most annoying to be pitied. If you feel so much sympathy, then by all means, take action. Well, then, we're moving on. Hazuki grabbed his bag and hurried out into the hallway. Hey, what about everyone else? Everyone's going to surround Shiina and make you disappear. First of all, we'll keep her away from you. Nice idea. I also left the classroom in a hurry. Hey, Saku-kun, where are you going? I heard Shiina's voice penetrate through everyone's voices. At that moment, a chill runs down my spine. I've been found out. This is a failed strategy. She's definitely going to come this way, and she stubbornly won't leave my side. What are you going to do? I yell at him as I pull Hazuki's bag. Don't worry. Sana will take care of it. I'm serious. She's the one I'm counting on. And then we run down the corridor. Saku-kun. Before I knew it, Shiina was behind me and hugged me vigorously. Eh? When did you come? I reflexively run forward and look behind me with wide open eyes. Where did you come from? I didn't hear any footsteps at all. Is this person an assassin or something? Isn't she more suited to that kind of work? More than a model. Eh? I saw you leaving the classroom, so I just followed you. Where's Sana? Oh, she kind of stopped me, but I could have come any time I wanted. Shiina tilts her head curiously. Nothing seems to work on this one. The same classmates are no good. Even if she was surrounded by a large number of people, they probably wouldn't be able to stop her. The proof, Hazuki. No, I can't hold Yukiho-chan back. Sana comes out of the classroom gasping for breath. This is the way it is. You will never be able to stop her. What are you going to do about it? I glared at Hazuki beside me. The whole operation has gone down the drain. The person who thought of this has to be held accountable. My life is at stake, after all. What do you want me to do? I have no more ideas. No, you don't think. No, I can't do it anymore. All that's left is for you to do your best. That's it? You told me to go to karaoke so I could be safe, right? Yeah, but I can't, so I'm going to have fun with Sana. Huh? So, you should just open up and have fun with Shiina. With a straight face in resignation, Hazuki clapped me on the shoulder and disappeared into the classroom. Holding hands with Sana, I'm going to make sure this person never holds hands with her again. Episode 37, Not Singing. Saku-kun, let's go karaoke together. Shiina says as she grabs my hand again and wiggles her bottom. I can't run away anymore. Even if I tried to escape, or even if I did, it would be a repeat of the last time. I don't want to experience that kind of horror again. I have no choice but to go to the karaoke bar. But I will do my best to get away from Shiina carefully, though, so as not to let her get on nerves. Yes, I'll go. Yay. Then let's go to the karaoke bar right away. Wait, aren't we all going? Well, it's better for everyone if we get a room first, right? Besides, if we all go together, we can't make out alone. The girl who usually sticks to me without hesitation is talking like that. I don't understand the point of being embarrassed there. You're always doing things that make people around you uncomfortable. Well, it gives us more time together, and it's good for everyone. So it's a win-win. Huh? Alright, let's go. Then, Shiina pulled me by the hand and walked away. I look up to see Hazuki and Sana sneaking a look at us through the classroom door. The two of them had a small gut punch. I'm going to make them unable to have sex for the rest of their lives. Karaoke. And Saku-kun, the following is a list of the most popular types of karaoke. No, we went there a while ago. That was different. We were just talking. Who was that girl who was singing along? I'm just going to sing this time, and you're going to sing too, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to sing this time. Eh? I told you, I'm not going to sing, I said as I put on my shoes and Shiina came next to me and brought her face close to mine. Why not? Why aren't you singing? I'm tired, I'm sleepy, and I'm a dedicated listener. It's karaoke. What do you do if you don't sing? Just listen to other people sing. There may be many people around you who are dedicated listeners. I like the atmosphere of going to karaoke with others, but I don't like singing. This is usually the case with people who are tone deaf. They eat a drink bar and soft ice cream, listen to everyone else's songs, and get excited. There may be one or two in the class. It's just that it's me this time. Hey, Saku-kun is going to sing too. That's a done deal. I insist fiercely, waving my hands in the air. Why are you forcing me to do this? You want to hear the person you love sing, don't you? I have no idea. Is this what you call a maiden's heart? Or is it just Shiina? Besides, I want to know what kind of songs you sing. If you sing me a love song, I'm sure I'll die of a swoon. I guess I just have to sing anime songs. I'll like anything you sing, Saku-kun, so don't worry. Then it's best if I don't sing. It's not that I'm tone deaf, but I don't want to sing because, at any rate, it's hard to sing in front of Shiina. During the interlude of the song, she would call out love calls to the phrases, and she would do pen lights and watae. I've experienced this in the past. When we went there after Shiina's behavior started getting extreme, it was like a reverse version of a mini live performance at a maid cafe. Nothing but hard singing. Episode 38, What do you think I am? I wanted to hear you sing, Saku-kun. Okay, that's enough. Let's get going. TSK. I let go of Shiina, who was miffed, and walked with a large stride. I can't wait to get into the karaoke room and relax while enjoying the drink bar and soft serve ice cream. Well, it's not possible to relax when this girl is around, but it's a lot better than out there. Saku-kun, here we are. She pointed to a building with various tenants. The second floor of the building is a karaoke bar. Come on, let's go in and get a big private room. Yes, I salute her with a flirtatious salute and climb the stairs with nimble steps. If it were just the two of us in the karaoke room, I could understand why we would be so excited, but I don't understand why we would be so high when everyone else is coming later. Saku-kun, I'll take care of the bill and stuff, so go ahead and go into the room and leave it for me. Shiina tosses me the keys as she stands at the register. Okay. I'll be right there, and everyone will be here in a few minutes. Okay, I rattle the keys and walk down the hallway, listening to the singing coming from the other rooms. Here it is. Today's room, indicated by the number, is a corner room. The room is about 4 times larger than a normal room, and the monitor is not a TV but a projector. It even has a mirror ball and maraca, so it looks like a party room. It looks like it will be a party. At first, a drink bar. I put down my luggage, got up from my seat, and went to get a drink. At that moment, Shiina, whom I could see faintly, was still standing at the cash register. I wondered if she was writing something down because the party was using a group. Well, not caring about such things, I quickly returned to the room and drank the melon soda from the straw with great energy. The strong carbonation splashes down my throat, and my tiredness flies away at once. It's a moment in my private time. As if to interrupt this time, she said, "Thank you for waiting. Everyone's already at the front of the store." Shiina opens the door with her hips while holding 2 glasses. "Yes. Did you give them the room number?" "Of course I did. What do you think I am? Men, it's nothing." "Ah, I brought you something to drink, but you already have it." I was thirsty. "Well, just as your girlfriend bring it for you." I was so thoughtful. She narrowed her eyebrows with a mousy smile. "I've told you many times, I don't remember you being my girlfriend at all." Episode 39, Itsuchi. "Well, Saku-kun, I'll sing, so come on over and get into the groove." Shiina holds the microphone and raises her index finger to the ceiling. "Hey, what's going on with everyone? They should have been right up there, but they were unusually slow. There's no way a dozen or so people could have come this far and gotten lost all at once, and since Shiina gave them the room number, there's no way they could have made a mistake. Wait a minute. Shiina is the receptionist, and she's leading me to my room first, and although I said I liked karaoke, she was acting very aggressively. I was completely set up. Isn't she at the reception?" I say as I listen to the intro music playing in my head. "You screwed them, didn't you?" "What? Don't play dumb with me." "You led everyone to the other room, not here." "No, I didn't." "What are you talking about, Saku-kun? You're just running away." "I'm going to join the others." So, I started to get up from my seat. TCH, it failed. She stopped the sound source with her eyes narrowed. Did I just hear a tongue lashing? "No, you didn't. You did it perfectly." "Well, since I've been exposed, I guess we'll just have to go with plan B." Plan B? Wait, what are you d? Just as I was about to say that, Shiina plops me down on the sofa, puts my hands on top of my head, and cuffs me with handcuffs that she had taken out of her bag before I knew they were there. She dexterously holds down my arms and wraps my legs with duct tape as well. "Stop it. Okay, secure." Shiina puts her finger to my mouth as she says, her eyes glazed over. "Yes, we're all in the big room 2 doors down from one another. So, you see, this is going to be our big love nest. Which is more of a confinement room?" "It's not confinement, okay? Saku-kun will run away if I don't do this, so I don't have any choice. Do you understand that?" That's what Amenhara says when she locks up a boy she's stalking because she's in love with him. This is often the subject of horror movies. It's hard to resist when you're the one who's being attacked. I thought I would be able to get more violent, but I couldn't move my body like I thought I would. "Saku-kun, this room is soundproof, and no one will hear you if you make a sound, so don't worry, okay? I'm just worried, though, aren't I? So, Saku-kun, you can put your mind at ease and let your body rest against mine." Breathing hard, she unbuttons the blazer of her uniform, and then reaches for the buttons of her shirt. "Wait, you know there's a karaoke box security camera?" "Don't worry, this karaoke box is so old that there are no security cameras in the room." "You calculated that much?" "Of course I did." "Now no one can disturb our love nest." She leaned over and touched my cheeks with both hands and brought her face close to mine. "What are you doing?" "You know what I'm going to do," she whispers in my ear. "It's itchy." Episode 40, Too Aggressive. Wait. Why would you do that?" I turn my face away, flailing my body. If it's a dimly lit, soundproofed room with pink lighting and emo music playing as background music, that's all you're going to get. You're the one lighting it pink, and the background music is just you playing it on your own. The soundproofing is because it's karaoke. I've set the mood for you, so get on board. Who's going to get in if you force me like this? I wouldn't even get on if it was normal. I think it's crazy to start off with karaoke. High school students often get caught doing it in karaoke by waitstaff or passers-by, and the school reports it to the police, or they're secretly filmed and become famous on Twitter's ranking list. Give it up already, Saku-kun. She puts her hand on my belt and starts unclasping it. I am not giving up, no matter what you think. I won't give up. I don't think there's any way out of this, do you? Because if you say it in a questioning way, I'm going to run away. I can't do it anymore. Let's just give up. Don't try to lead me to defeat. Well, I guess I'll just have to take it off first. Then, won't I? We're not on the same page here, are we? Shiina removes her hands from my waist and begins to unbutton her own shirt. Once the chest area is unbuttoned, the red underwear begins to show in the dark. How is it? I tried to be aggressive today. Shiina proudly opens her chest as she removes her shirt from her shoulders. Your behavior is too aggressive before the bra. Saku-kun, don't look away, look at me. Listen to me. Shiina forced me to turn my face to the front of her breasts. The breasts that I see are white, shiny and firm, and deserve the word beautiful breasts. The bra that surrounds them is a scorching red color. But it is not only the top that interests me. It is the heat that is transmitted to my lower body, to my thighs. It was being emitted from inside Shiina's skirt. This girl is in complete heat. Her eyes are completely hot. Come on, Saku-kun. Let me serve you with your magnificent thing. At that moment, while drooling, she put her hand on my pants. Maybe he's here. Suddenly the door opened and our savior appeared. Hazuki. With teary eyes, I turned my eyes toward the door. Ah, yeah, I see. Hazuki says in a hushed voice. Hey, you're making a big misunderstanding, aren't you? No, yes. Hey, don't close the door so quietly. Yeah, I understand. Hey, I'm here. Help. Take your time. He looked away and slowly closed the door. Hold on. Hey, I exclaimed. We won't be disturbed anymore. Come on, be one with me, okay? Somebody, help me, help me. The screams were sucked into the soundproof walls. Episode 41, Overnight Ichi Course. If you ever do that again, I'll kill you. A few hours had passed since then. Shiina and I were walking home. Next time, I'll make sure to get your permission before I do it again. You think I'll give you permission? I mean, don't do it in the first place. A few seconds after the demise, Hazuki, who had just appeared, returned with Miho and Sana and restrained Shiina, somehow escaping the worst. I almost got sucked off. But thanks to my desperate inner thighs, my erection was not exposed, which was probably a blessing in disguise. After that, I went back to the others and enjoyed karaoke, which led me to where I am now. I really wanted to go home alone, but Shiina caught me. Don't follow me. I looked at Shiina with narrowed eyes as she walked next to me. I don't understand why you would say that. We live across the street from each other, so it can't be helped that we walk home together, can it? Don't follow me when I'm taking the long way home. I chose this road because I didn't want to go home with you. Don't follow me every time. At least take the shortest way home. I still want to go home with you, Saku-kun. You should at least go home alone. Going home with your boyfriend, it's like adolescence, right? Who's your boyfriend? And you know what? There's no one home today. So there's a chance we could end up having Icky overnight. That's a dead end. In the first place, there is no need to stay at my house since my house is across the street. Just stay at your own home and you'll be able to sleep better. It is not the boyfriend that is the deciding factor. That's fine. Let's do a sleepover course. Shiina hugs my arm and presses her chest against my chest. I definitely don't want to. If I tell Saku-kun's parents, they'll say yes, right? I'm sure of it. I'm sure they will, but I don't want to. If Shiina were to stay at my house, my parents would be happy to welcome her and open the front door. Besides, they would even prepare a lavish dinner. The last time Shiina stayed at my place was 3 or 4 years ago. That was before she went crazy. Well, I can give up on staying over, but can I ask you to do something for me in return? No. Ask and then deny. I don't think it's something to deny. I'm sure I already know what you're going to do before you ask me, so I'm denying it from the beginning. Next week, I have a photo shoot for my magazine. Hey, Don't get ahead of yourself. I think she doesn't have eardrums. Or maybe she's just got a nervous system that can't hear anything that's not good for her. It's a magazine shoot, and it's been a while since I've been outside. It's a big park in Tokyo. What's that got to do with me? Well, I want you to be my escort for the shoot. Episode 42, a hunch I have from experience. Huh? Didn't you hear me? Shooting's on. Know that. Why do I have to escort you? I don't understand. What's the point of going all the way to her magazine's photo shoot? Do you want me to watch your luggage while you work? I want you to watch me work. Huh? I sound even more like an idiot. I don't know what that means. What do you want me to think when I see you working? I want you to think I'm cute or amazing? I'm not going. I'm kidding, really. I want you to see how serious I am. Why? You know, I'm always so close to you that you might think I'm a pain in the ass, don't you? Not probably, I'm thinking it. So, if he sees me in a more respectable light, maybe he'll change his mind. It won't change. I was at a loss for words for a moment. The very first time I saw a magazine with Shiina in it, anywhere but in an interview, my mind did indeed waver a bit. The girl who always acts like this is in a magazine that every teenager picks up with a 180-degree different look. If it were a normal childhood friend, I would be happy to go see her and she deserves my respect, but with Shiina, I'm not in the mood. But, well, it would be a good experience if I could at least see her. I don't mind if just follow along. When I heard those words, really? I knew it. Saku-kun, you're my prized boyfriend. Shiina's smile was bright and she hugged me. Don't be like that. You're annoying. I have to show your feelings of happiness to get through to you. Don't tell me, keep them to yourself. If you're coming, that's all that matters. Don't get stuck with me forever. I'm going along to a magazine shoot, but I have a bad feeling about it. The instinct is to feel it. I'm afraid that if Shiina does something on her own, I might not be able to handle it. But I'm afraid that she'll bring others into it. I'm going home calmly today. When we get to the front of the house, Shiina opens the gate and turns around. Get inside the house. I immediately opened the front door too. I'll see you at school. I mean, tomorrow morning. Who's going to school with me, you idiot? Don't worry, I'll catch up with you even if you go first. Saku-kun, tch. I glared at Shiina, who waved at me with a smile on her face, and I clicked my tongue, and I shut the door to my house hard, locked it, even chain locked it, and told my parents never to let Shiina inside the house. Episode 43, High School Student Dating. Come on, let's go. Shut up in front of people's houses so early in the morning. The following Saturday, the date came when I had to go with Shiina to work, at 5 a.m. in the early morning. I rubbed my sleepy eyes as I got ready and left the house, but Shiina was already standing in front of me waiting. Saku-kun, let's get a little more excited. I can't. I'm too sleepy and I'm not in the mood. You can see me working in my cute little outfit, can't you? Aren't you looking forward to it? I can't stand it when you say you're cute. Girls who call themselves cute are usually a turn-off. Well, I'd be more attracted to a girl who calls someone younger than herself cute while recognizing that she's cute. The meeting is at 6:30, so we're leaving for now. Okay. Shiina took me by the hand and we started walking down the street to the station. As usual, I was concerned about the stares of the people around me. There are quite a few people, including businessmen who go to work early and clubbing high school students heading for morning practice. Moreover, I feel like my heart is being gouged out because people are looking at me with eyes that are more drawn to me than usual because I seem to be a serious person. After arriving at the station, it takes about 10 minutes to get on the Rapid Express train. We arrived at the station nearest to our destination. Saku-kun, what is it? I look at Shiina with a stern look as she grabs me by the arm from inside the train. We still have time before the meeting, don't we? Shouldn't you at least get to work early? I always come in about 20 minutes before, but I can still take my time for 40 minutes now, right? You're going to ask me to go to a hotel anyway, aren't you? How do you know what I'm thinking? Crazy. She's trying to get laid at a hotel before work. She's really crazy. The thought process is as buggy as ever. Well, even if I can't go to a hotel, you know what? Aren't you getting hungry? Shiina, who came out in front of me as I passed through the ticket gate, nodded her head. Sure is hungry. I haven't had time to eat breakfast since I woke up, and I don't think I'll be able to eat until around noon. Then why don't we go somewhere appropriate for a high school date where we can get some good food while we're at it? I think I have a pretty good idea. A place for high school students to stop by after school or in the morning. It's a little expensive, but the drinks and suits are the best in town. That's Starbucks. Let's stop by. Episode 44, Just a Psycho. I thought so. I knew that if it was a date, I'd want to go on it at least once. Don't make it a date without my permission. I'm just following you to work. Don't be so hard on yourself. Even going to work is a date. That's fundamentally different. What's a date? I'm tired of this exchange. This is going to go on forever. Forget the details. Let's just get in the car. Woo. And with that, I was taken by the hand into the restaurant. As we entered, the stylish background music tickled our eardrums, and the aroma of savory coffee and the sweet smell of pastries caressed our nostrils. There were various people seated at the tables, some quietly enjoying their coffee, others working on their computers, and so on. What do you want to drink, Saku-kin? Shiina rushes over to the menu on a stand and looks at it, beckoning to me without looking at me. Well, I think I'll go with a green tea frappuccino. I'll have a matcha frappuccino with more whip. She pointed at the menu and said, naive, Saku-kun. Waving her index finger from side to side, she looks at me with one eye. What is it? Starbucks is all about fun and challenge, you know? Like what? Well, you'll see. Shiina tapped me on the shoulder and headed for the cash register with a translucent look on her face. I thought it would just be a little customization anyway. Caramel frappuccino with extra whip, extra caramel sauce, extra chocolate chips, extra caramel chocolate vanilla classic syrup, extra matcha powder. It was a spell. I don't know how she could say it so smoothly. Can you say it because you're dead-eyed and menacing to me on a daily basis? But it's also amazing that I cannot remember it. When she finished ordering, she looked at me with a sniff and a humph. I think it's great, but it's not something to brag about. Ah, and I'll have a cookies and cream donut and a chunk scone, please, I added, paying for my order and holding the receipt as I moved to the pickup counter. I'll have one too. Proceeding to an empty register, I asked, matcha frappuccino with extra whip. And the chocolate donut, please. How's that? My playful order, Shiina asked with sparkling eyes. Too sweet. It's making me sick. And the waitress looked at you with a drawn look. Huh? Sweet is righteous. The waitress is probably just a newbie. Maybe you're just crazy. It seems that no matter where she goes, Shiina is still a psycho. Episode 45, Going to Get Fat? It's so sweet. It's so good. It's too good to be true. I'm getting sick to my stomach just looking at it. 10 minutes later, I was eating and drinking what I had just bought on a bench at the edge of the park where the shooting was taking place. Saku-kun, it's okay for girls to be greedy for sweet things. Besides, a limited number of meals in a lifetime are meaningless if every meal isn't delicious, enjoyable, and happy, right? Don't force your ideas on me. I want to share my feelings with my boyfriend. Shut up and eat. I sigh as Shiina eats a donut with a frappuccino in one hand, which is still in its original form. Besides, how can you eat like that when you're about to start filming? Why? She tilted her head slightly as she put some cream on her mouth in a mocking manner. She looks cute, but the shock of what she's holding in her hand is wearing thin. It's a photo shoot, so you'll have to wear a costume, and then there's the usual stuff about your physical condition and so on. Costumes, well, I'm sure I'll be fine. What if it's too tight? I'm going to run. You think you can lose weight in this short amount of time? Do you think you'll gain weight in this short amount of time? You'll have a little belly. That's it. That's the phenomenon of having a tight stomach after going to an all-you-can-eat restaurant. If you are wearing a costume for a photo shoot, it will probably fit you perfectly. And if you eat and drink so much in the morning, you might be in trouble, right? Don't worry, I'll get my manager to take care of it if it happens. What do you think your manager is? Woman? You're out of your mind. Maybe you've had too much sugar in your diet. The cream on your mouth is probably because your facial muscles aren't moving. I wonder if she can make proper facial expressions like this. Anyway, after we eat, let's go to the meeting place and check it out. Why don't you just go there from the beginning? Why go all the way to the meeting place? Because, you know, I still want to be alone with Saku-kun. I shouldn't have come. I'm already tired. I'm not sure if I'll be able to last another half day. It's going to take me a while to do my makeup and stuff, so I really should get going. Then you better get going. I've already gone. I'd rather be with you than at work. I thought you brought me here to show me how you work. Yes, but now that I'm standing next to you like this, I don't care anymore. Alright, let's go. After listening to Shiina's words, I get up from the bench and start walking to the meeting place. Hey, phew. I hurriedly put a donut in my mouth and Shiina chased after me. If I stay here at this point, she's not really going to go to the shoot. I'm sure she'll take me straight to the hotel. I'm sure that in this case, based on my past experience, acting is the only way to win. Episode 46. We're not dating. There are already quite a few people who seem to be involved, aren't there? Even from a distance, people with cameras and other equipment gathered at the administration office in the middle of the park. Isn't it normal for the staff to gather before the performers? They are professionals. Don't you have any professionalism at all? Yes, but even if you go early, there's nothing to do until things are ready over there. And that's annoying. There are a lot of things to set up and check, and they're all over the place. I see. She's more proper than I thought. I thought you'd be more fluffy, but you've been acting and thinking properly. But I have to go soon. I have to get ready and say hi. You were ready to not come just now, weren't you? I'm the type of person who gets turned on when I see a job site, you know? Why don't you start the day before? Well, it turned out all right, so it's fine. She smiles at me, but all I can see are the veins on my forehead. As I was walking around, I was trying to contain my irritation with sugar. Yahoo, Abe, Shiina waves to a certain someone as we approach. Oh, there you are, Yukiho. A woman in a suit and tie waves back in a husky voice. In her hand is a can of coffee and an iPad. She has the appearance of a woman who can get the job done. You're in late today, aren't you? He. I brought Saku-kun with me today. This is the one. This is the woman who is looking at my whole body. Nice to meet you. My name is Izumi Saku. I'm here today as Shiina's escort. I greet her for the time being. This is a basic rule when meeting someone for the first time. Thank you very much for your courtesy. My name is Sakura Abe and I am Yukiho's manager. Nice to meet you. Offering her business card, she greeted me with an air of maturity. So this is Shiina's manager. I'm glad to see that she seems so serious. Yukiho has told me a lot about you. If you don't mind me asking, what kind of things do you talk about? I asked her, breaking out in a cold sweat. She told me how you made out, how you spend your evenings, and that you're a very good boyfriend, Abe-san said with a giggle. Shiina? But my bloodshot eyes were on Shiina. What are you talking about? Don't even lie to the manager. I pinched Shiina's cheek and pulled it to the side. I don't care about the truth. Nothing is true. Don't be shy, let us show off. What are you going to do? Introduce a lie. We were arguing, you geese make a nice couple. She looks at us with a smiling expression on her face. We're not dating, I said with the most serious face ever. Episode 47. Let's talk. Well, that's okay. We'll talk about it later. I don't have anything to say to you though. I have a lot of questions to ask you. After all, I heard that you and Yukiho are very close. We're very close, but don't get the wrong idea. I guess so. She took a sip of coffee. This person gives off a different kind of bad vibe than Shiina. I have no idea what she is thinking. She is the scariest type of person I know. Anyway, Yukiho, I want to make sure it looks good. So please go put on your makeup, she says to Shiina, who is standing next to her, while operating her iPad. Okay, Saku-kun. Do you feel like staying here? He's sitting in the chair there chatting with me. We have a lot to talk about. I see, understood. Then hold this. She handed Abe-san the donut trash and the frappuccino cup she had just finished drinking and said, Saku-kun, this is where my real work begins. This is where I really come into my own. And walked into the control center. Well, Izumi-kun. Why yes. Shall we talk? The look in her eyes was gentle but sharp, and I gulped and swallowed. What will she do to me? I'm afraid I'm going to be bombarded with questions. I'm afraid that Shiina's manager will be asking a lot of questions. Why don't we sit down there and talk? Yes. I sit down on a nearby chair. Would you like some coffee? Tea, thank you. A can of coffee on the table in front of me. Is this what they call a bribe? Please don't take it personally. I opened the can and said that before taking a sip. It would have been terrible if she believed everything she heard. It would be a lot of trouble if this were to get out in the world, let alone at school. It's too late. It's already in the magazine. It's a good thing that my name hasn't been mentioned yet. Don't worry. I know she's lying, and I know why. I'm glad to hear that. I let out a sigh of relief. I'm glad to know that she understands me. That's a relief. She's a very nice girl, except for her personality. She takes her job seriously and is polite to everyone but me, even though she was polite to me in the beginning. I don't think she's a serious person. You'll see what I mean. You'll see. When it comes to work, she's all over the place. I see. Visually she's perfect, ostensibly a great person, but she ruins it all with her obsession with you. I totally get it. The reason why the perfect girl ruins everything is not because she's a little sloppy or has weird values. It was the universal obsession for me. Episode 48, Similar Past. The fact of the matter is, her love for you is extraordinary. Even I, as an adult, would be drawn to it. I know you're thinking about your past, but don't you think there's a limit? I think so, very much so. But you know what? From an adult's point of view, or rather from a third person's point of view, don't you think you have a cause? Me? Yes, it is. Do you think I'm the cause? I have no idea. I don't need it, but Shiina follows me around on her own. I just reject it. Well, my thoughts are mostly my own. But Izumi-kun, I think you should go out with that girl, eh? I reflexively speak up at the sudden suggestion. The sudden suggestion makes me reflexively speak up. Why? You've probably spent all this time with her, haven't you? I'm sure she's been there for you through the tough times. Have you ever taken that as a positive? That's maybe there shouldn't be. If it were, we wouldn't be seeing this turn of events. Why do you think that? It's easy if you put yourself in the opposite position. When the person you love is depressed, you try to cheer him up by cheering him up, and he rejects you. Do you think there is anything more simple and painful than that? If it were me, I wouldn't talk to him anymore. Sure, you're right. But she wasn't. But she was different. She was desperately searching for something more she could do, and she found this job. And she was trying to do more for you to cheer you up. Continuing, Abe-san snickered. I know that's not the case now, and that she just wants to tell you herself that she likes you, but in the beginning, I'm sure that's what she was trying to do. When Shiina took me to karaoke, I did indeed hear something like that from her. I wonder if what Abe-san is telling me in a roundabout way is that I should face Shiina more. Whether you go out with her or not, I think just accepting her to some extent without rejecting her will help you get rid of that abnormal obsession. Men girl have a strong need for approval. Did you have such an experience in the past, Abe-san? Yeah. I had a similar experience to yours about 10 years ago. At that time, Izumi-kun and I were in the same position. I see. Advice from someone with a similar past. Even if the situation is different, it is better to refer to the story from someone who has experienced it. Episode 49. Every once in a while, I want to remember. Besides, you must like her. Why is that a good reaction? No, not at all. I was suddenly told, and I unwillingly turned red. I'm not sure if I like Shiina or not. There is no such thing. The love affair with a childhood friend is something that can only happen in the world of anime. In reality, There is no way that a romantic comedy with Shiina would start. You just don't know it, or you don't want to admit it, but somewhere in your heart you have those feelings, don't you? Why do you think that? Because you guys seem to get along with each other. Did we look friendly to you? That's the premise is. You don't come to observe someone you hate working with someone you hate, do you? You stop by Starbucks in the morning. You wouldn't even want to talk to her before that. No, well, you're just a kid. You're going to realize things when you're told. Is that really true? I still love Chisato. I don't think this will ever change, but I also want to end it as a serious love I had in the past. That's why I want to end it. No matter how much I think about her, she will never come back. She would never want me to spend the rest of my life feeling empty. If she is here, I want you to spend your life smiling, Saku-kun. I hope you meet a better person, do what you did with me, even what you couldn't do, and make her happy. Well, you can decide that answer when you see her at work. Abe-san stood up, threw the can she had just finished drinking into the trash, and headed for the smoking area. Pulling a cigarette out of her breast pocket, she lights it with a silver Zippo. Do you smoke? I ask distantly. Well, yeah. I'll never get a chance to use this Zippo. Do you have a special attachment to it? It was given to me by my late first love. This is the brand he smoked. You mean you were influenced by him? No, I'm not a big fan of cigarettes, but I like them now. Just like he did back then, with a mouthful of smoke. She exhaled into the blue sky. I have a husband now, too. That's what you call Yukiho now? That means yes, I'm married to someone who was dependent on me. Then cigarettes. I love my husband now, but sometimes I miss the taste and the sound. The taste, the sound. She opened her Zippo, rubbed the flint and lit it. The flame that rose high in the air seemed to have the same firepower as the love Abe-san had experienced at that time. Episode 50, Neat and Tidy Bitch. Thank you for waiting. How? What do you think, Saku-kun? This even cuter than usual me. After a while, Shiina, who had finished her costume and makeup, came running up to me in high spirits. Nothing, I don't mind, I said, but inwardly I was honestly surprised. Shiina usually wears black clothes, but today it was the opposite. She was wearing a white one-piece dress with higanbana, cluster amaryllis, flowers hanging in various places. On her head, tied in a ponytail, was a slightly oversized straw hat, and high-soled espadrilles. It was a coordination that reminded me of a pretty young lady. Or rather, I look at Shiina in a strange way because of what Abe-san said earlier. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Saku-kun, you really don't understand the female mind. I'm in such a cute shape, and that's how you react. It's not you. You're in a different mood than usual, aren't you? Don't you think I'm neat and pretty? What you say is neither neat nor pretty. No, it's not. I'm talking about my appearance. I never said anything about my personality. No, I'm talking about being neat and tidy, which includes your looks and your personality. Then I'm a neat and tidy bitch? You're defiling yourself. Neat and neat bitch. The word is dirty, but it is the best word to describe Shiina right now. I feel that Idenmenchuru is more appropriate than bitch, but either would suit Shiina, so I don't care which one it is. Shiina-san, it's time for you to go. Oh, I'm coming. When her name is called from afar. Then, I'm going to go, Saku-kun. She ran toward the called direction. Is she going to change? Looking at Shiina in the back, I laugh at Abe-san who is standing next to me. I thought that once she put on the costume, she would be in work mode, but it seems that this is not the case. It's no different than usual, not at the moment. But when the camera is pointed at her, that's the only time she really becomes a different person. I hope it's just that. I wonder if she will be able to pull off that look I saw in the magazine with me in the room. I worry. Yukiho, Shiina is coming in. Shiina appears in front of the camera being set up, ready for the final preparations. The background is a white staircase that looks like part of a castle, and on top of it are chairs and tables that look like they belong in a royal palace, also painted white. First, let's try a stream shot, the director-like figure says, and with a raised hand, he sits down on the bench, doing something odd. Let's start. As soon as she hears that voice, all at once, the mischievous expression disappears from Shiina's face. 180 different from her usual mood. She was in the role of work, or rather, as if she was blending into that scenery. Episode 51, Tolerance. Yes. Okay, just keep going. As the shutter clicks, she changes her pose and facial expression each time. This is her. Isn't she amazing? Abe-san looks at Shiina from afar, laughing. She sure is amazing. She's a pro. She's a model by far. She changes her facial expressions and gestures according to the shutter speed, and they are all perfect. Talent, huh? Yes, talent. Well, she's a talent that I've been able to bring out of hiding. Bring it out? You didn't see that, did you? Yes. Because she worked so hard for someone else, she developed her modeling talent at an incredible rate. Do you understand what I'm saying? For me. You mean? That's what she said from the interview. I mean, this talent as a model is for me. For the peace of mind that she said in the karaoke box. Shiina's personality as an everyday person is something, but when it comes to work and thinking about things properly, she is really thoughtful. I'll have to have a proper talk with her next time. Thinking this, I looked at Shiina. She tilts her straw hat forward and stretches out her legs cross-legged on the stairs, the sun shining there. She looked like a young lady with her wings outstretched. How do you like it? Do you think what I said stung you? Yes, thank you. I'm glad it did. It's about time she got her reward. You mean she's been patient? Patience, yes. Patience. She's been putting up with it when you're not looking. I haven't seen it. She's showing you she's fine in front of you, which is something she's doing thoroughly, but she cries a lot. She cries a lot? She makes me listen to her complaining. She makes me go out with her while she cries and sings karaoke forever. She makes me buy her dinner. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sorry. Shiina cries. I certainly haven't seen her cry at all in the last few years. The only thing she showed me was that she was either smiling or her eyes were dead in front of me. Was this also something she was doing to reassure me? Strong people do not cry in public. I really feel the weight of these words. So, you two can go here together after this, and she offers me a certain ticket. It's a nice place with a nice view, and if you have half an hour, you can have a good talk, right? It's a short train ride from here. What she handed me was a ticket for the Ferris wheel at Cosmo World in Minato Mirai. Episode 52, Date? How was I? How was my cute but serious work appearance? After about 5 hours had passed and the shooting was over, Shiina returned to her plainclothes and came toward me. Elated. Completely turned off, Shiina was still the same as usual. Yeah, she was cute. I know. No, I didn't say a word about it. I can read your mind, Saku-kun, because we are one in heart. Said it. I shooed away Shiina, who was sticking to me as usual, a little more restrained than usual. I wonder if this will really calm down depending on my actions. I can't quite imagine. But I can't waste the information I got from Abe-san. I couldn't let it go to waste. Shiina, are you free after this? I asked casually. Then, with a grin and a pout, she said. What is it? Do you want to go on a date with me, Saku-kun? It's not a date. I'm just asking if you're free. I'm free. I was planning to go somewhere with you after this anyway. Then it's convenient. What do you mean? Here, I show Shiina the ticket I just got. I got it by accident. This is a ticket for the Ferris wheel, right? Yes. Is there a problem? No. I was just wondering why you have it. I told you I got it by accident. Besides, it's close to here and it would be a waste not to use it, so I just thought I'd go. If you are not going to go, I will throw it away. I told a painful lie. There's no point in telling it nakedly here. It was a conversation on a Ferris wheel. I'll go. I'll definitely go. I'll go no matter what. Shiina took the ticket from me and jumped up and down. It's only one train ride away from here, and even if we go now, we can be home by evening. This is a date, right? It's not a date. We're just going to ride the Ferris wheel. No, it's a date. It's a date. You keep talking like that, I'm going to break it. No, that's what I'm talking about. She's a genius at getting on people's nerves. Even if it's not a date, maybe I'd be okay with a sleepover. Because the night view around here is beautiful, isn't it? Don't you think it would be romantic to view it from the upper floor of the hotel? After toasting with a glass of chamomile there, we could go to bed in our bathrobes and have the best situation. Don't you think? Shiina says, rubbing her chin. Stop being paranoid. I'm really going to break it. I took her ticket and pretended to tear it off with my hand. Hey, I'm just kidding. I'm just going to have dinner with you. She apologized in a stroking voice, rubbing her arms around me. I didn't say anything about going out for dinner either, but that probably depends on the Ferris wheel. It's not just about dinner. What happens to us from now on also depends on it. Episode 53, Only This Smile. Let's just move on, shall we? Before Saku-kun changes his mind, Shiina takes the initiative and starts walking in front of me. Why would I change my mind? Because, you know, if we keep on dicking around, I'm afraid you're going to say, I'm not going to say anything. That's your thing, Saku. You don't know. You're a moody guy. It's your attitude, isn't it? While arguing, we started walking to the station. The sun is shining and the temperature is rising outdoors. The time is still 12 o'clock. Even if we arrive there, it will be around 1:30 p.m. I was thinking that we could at least have dinner for the night, but there was still too much time left until nightfall. However, it would be more convenient to ride the Ferris wheel at night. In the daytime, no matter what we talked about inside the Ferris wheel, the atmosphere would be too weird. Also, it would be awkward to leave the Ferris wheel while it was still light when we made a mistake. People tend to talk more easily at night, and although it is irrelevant, it is said that it is instinctively better for people to confess something. Having said that, there is no way to pass the time until the evening. Doing something together is also somewhat uncomfortable. I have to find a way to pass the time while keeping Shiina as quiet as possible. Shiina will ride the Ferris wheel at night. That's fine with me. But why? No, but before that, let's go see a movie or something, shall we? This is probably the safest thing to do. A movie on a date is sure to cause conversation and awkwardness, but with Shiina, it's convenient. If she were to say, "So, Saku-kun, do you want to go on a date with me?" I would just tear the ticket open again and she would shut up, and I would be able to kill time by moving around and doing other things until the evening. Saku-kun, isn't that ticket only for the Ferris wheel? Shiina said, staring at the ticket. What do you mean? If you look at it carefully, you will see that it is a free pass and that you can enter not only the Ferris wheel but also the roller coaster and the haunted house, right? I looked at the tip of the ticket and saw that it said adult free pass on it. I had not noticed that at all. I had thought that was all there was to it because the Ferris wheel was written on the front of the ticket. It was an unfortunate mistake, but it would surely pass the time until nighttime. We watched the movie and enjoyed the other attractions as an appetizer for the Ferris wheel. Saku-kun, this is going to be fun. Shiina beamed as she looked up at the ticket to the heavens with excitement. Maybe it'll be. This smile is the only thing that makes me happy to be next to Shiina. I'd like to be able to think about other things in the future, but that's something I'll have to decide from now on. Episode 54, Good Instincts. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't realize there were only romantic movies on at this time of night. I got really emotionally involved. Where's the point? It didn't feel real. Well, it's just that the hero and heroine were us. It took about an hour and a half by train and on foot, and from there about 3 hours including travel and the movies. It was around 5 p.m. The sun was still up, but it was starting to set. We were on our way to Cosmo World, which is right next to the movie theater. It's been a long time since I've been to an amusement park. Shiina, with her hands outstretched, runs around the park on the way to the park. She was as excited as ever. It's small, though. But if it has attractions, then it's a great amusement park. And it depends on who comes. That has nothing to do with it. Although smaller than other amusement parks, it has roller coasters, VR attractions, a haunted house, a game center, and even a Ferris wheel that offers a panoramic view of Yokohama. The Ferris wheel, the centerpiece of the park, offers a panoramic view of Yokohama. The park is famous as a dating spot, and couples come here in the evening to enjoy the night view from the Ferris wheel. It seems that people might think that we are a couple, but I have no intention of being a couple, let alone Shiina. After all, we had been given tickets. I haven't been to an amusement park in years. I haven't been to an amusement park since 2 years ago. I have a hazy feeling about amusement parks, or at least places I went to 2 years ago. The movie theaters and game centers are all places that I've been to with a bunch of other people, but it's an opportunity. It's over now. I have to change my mind. Let's go on a roller coaster and have a blast, then go to a haunted house to get our minds off things, and then go to the Ferris wheel, which is what we want. Let's. Hey, why are you being so nice to me today, Saku-kun? It's nothing out of the ordinary. No, usually you would tell me not to make decisions on my own, or you would say it in a stronger way, and you look unhappy. I'm perfectly normal. Eh? Are you hiding something from me, Saku-kun? I have nothing to hide from you. Well, you can't hide anything from me. My and Saku-kun hearts are yes, yes. We're already in front of it. Let's go quickly. Yes. We arrived at our destination at the right time and entered the place immediately. Sometimes you have a good intuition, Shiina. I'm sure you've noticed the changes in my tone of voice and facial expressions. This much, I guess, means that she usually cares about me. Episode 55, Matsuri-san. Oh, it's full of couples. Shut up. Don't be so excited. Once inside, what stands out more than the attractions are the unusual amount of couples. They were flirting with each other as if they were showing off everywhere. Let them all blow up. Shall we compete with them, Saku-kun? Let's go for a ride, quickly. Shiina, who thought I was next to her, tries to hug me, but I don't stay where I am, so she strikes out. Moo, I think it's against the morals to leave a girl behind. She puffed out her cheeks. It's better than you, who's always hugging and saying things that would get you in trouble. You know what? I'm doing this for you, Saku-kun. There are more ways to do it. Oh, would you have preferred to be cured in bed? I didn't say anything about that. Then what would you like me to do for you? Nothing in particular. I just want you to be normal. Why can't I tell it here? Maybe it's because if Shiina just stays next to me and pats me on the head, I'm going to feel completely at ease. Besides, it reminds me of something else at the same time that I haven't fully forgotten. I wonder if you'd like it if I did a roller coaster ride with a panties glimpse. The thought crosses my mind as I climb the stairs and get to the end of the little line. Of course not. But you've got a certain thing about you, don't you, Saku-kun? Which part? When I intentionally pressed my breasts against you, when I snuck into your bed, and when I attacked you at karaoke, you looked at my breasts, didn't you? And also my thighs and buttocks. I didn't look. You think you haven't been exposed, but you have. I didn't look. That's what makes you so dirty, Saku-kun. On the other hand, where are the boys who do not get dirty when they see that? If there are any, then he has a dead libido, and he's not a man. At any rate, you'll understand if you try it, won't you? I don't know. Then I'll go show it. Don't bother showing it to me. Well, it wouldn't be a lucky pervert moment, would it? Don't be convinced. Shiina shakes her head, and I'm dumbfounded. Is this girl always wearing many skirts because she wants me to have a lucky pervert scene with her? If that's the case, she's a good tactician. I wish she would use her head more effectively. Episode 56, Pervert-san. While I was thinking about this, it was our turn. Saku-kun, are you ready? Shiina got on first and smiled uncomfortably as she beckoned us on. Well, I like roller coasters, and nothing to be that prepared for. No, you are prepared for a lucky pervert scene. No, I'm not prepared for that, I said as if I was going to throw up, and I got in next to Shiina. Look, our thighs are attached to each other. Of course they are. It's a small space. I'm so thrilled to see you like this. These are JK's thighs, white, chewy thighs that anyone would want to get between. The safety bar is right in front of you, and the safety bar in front of me is lowered all the way down to around my waist. There is certainly a desire to be sandwiched between slippery thighs. I'm sure this is what all boys are thinking, but let me warn you. I'm talking about the face. You can't even see my pants. I don't need to see it. But I wore something cute today. What's more important to you, your life or your pants? Pants? Pants is more important than life? You've always shown me your pants. Well, I personally find panties more erotic. As we are having a useless conversation, the roller coaster starts to move forward. Isn't it the most exciting part of this climb? Not the most, but it's exciting, isn't it? You mean it's exciting? You are a pervert who gets excited everywhere, aren't you? I don't want to be told only by you. I would like to remove Shiina's brain once and observe it in detail. There is definitely some kind of parasite living in there. Moo, with such a sour face. Aren't you having fun right now, Saku-kun? Shiina poked me in the cheek from the side and said, the attraction itself is fun, but I'm tired of dealing with you. You want me to be more mature? That's right. I'm already trying to be quieter than usual. Then be quieter. If you ask me, it's better than usual, but if it's better than usual, it means that usual is too bad. The other day at the movie theater, and at the karaoke, were just too much of an eccentricity. Well, quiet, huh? On the contrary, I ask you, what do you think I should do to be quiet? You restrain yourself from acting out. Not that. What do you think you should do to make me quiet? If I tie you up in a tortoise shell and hold a candle to you, will you shut up? I'd like to say, but I'm afraid that would make her scream with delight. Besides, I already know the answer. Saku-kun. What is it? The Ferris wheel. After we're done here, can we go on it again? She says abruptly. Why? It's already dark, and there are fewer people around now. She squeezes the safety bar and looks me in the eye. The roller coaster is a very popular attraction in the world of roller coasters, and it is a great way to get a good feel for what is going on in the world of roller coasters. A moment later, Shiina is about to say something, but the roller coaster reaches the top and falls at once in the wind, which was coming at a tremendous speed. I looked at Shiina. Shiina had a lonely look on her face from somewhere, but she had already disappeared into a smile. Episode 57, Unexpectedly Looking. Well, that was fun, wasn't it, Saku-kun? Just riding a roller coaster is tiring, isn't it? After we finished the ride, we sat on a bench at the exit and drank juice. Maybe it's because it's been a while since I rode it, but I'm mentally exhausted. I'm sure it's partly Shiina's fault. Not tough enough. I can ride 5 more times. You'll get tired of it before you get tired of your fitness. Men who don't have stamina don't get liked, you know, especially at night. Shut up. I looked away from Shiina, who was pointing a can of juice at me. Besides, if I rode alone, I might get bored. But if I rode with Saku-kun, I would never get tired of it. I took a sip of my juice and breathed a sigh of relief. Somehow, just having Saku-kun next to me makes me happy. It may just be because I love you. Just being next. I muttered. Just next to me. Shiina just follows me around and forcefully sits next to me. It has become my daily life. In a good way or a bad way, it's just not normal now that Shiina is not next to me. I've been living that life for 2 years now, putting the screws to her fantasies, yelling at her for her odd behavior, and casually conversing with her. I mean, we still have time, and there's still no line for the Ferris wheel, so why don't we go to the haunted house? Shiina said as she threw away the can she had just finished drinking and stood up from the bench. But don't you want to ride the Ferris wheel? Well, we'll be on the Ferris wheel in half an hour anyway. And I want to see Saku get scared in the haunted house. I don't mind going on the Ferris wheel, but I have a question first. I stood up. 2. What were you going to say at the top of the roller coaster? I've been wondering about this since a while ago. I don't get to see Shiina's face like that very often. Nothing important. Why? Shiina tried to cover it up with a smile. When you were about to say something, you looked kind of unhappy. When I deliberately averted my gaze a little and said, Shiina was startled. What? You're looking at me more than I thought. Saku-kun. Shiina smiled a little and turned her head down. No. It's been a while since I've seen you make a face like that. So you got curious about me. That's about it. It bothers me because she usually smiles. Shiina only makes a face like that when she has something important to say. It was the same look she had when she was at the karaoke bar after she told me about Chisato. I want to talk to you, Saku-kun. Me. When her back is turned, she says as she folds her hands behind her back. Talk her. Yes. I'd like to talk to you alone. What? I snicker. What, Saku-kun? You're just like me, aren't you? Episode 58, kinda excited. So you wanted to talk to me, Saku-kun? She half turned around and bent at the waist to look into my face. Maybe it's not the same thing as you, though. You don't know that yet, do you? I know what I've been through. You're inexperienced in a lot of things, Saku-kun. Making a circle with her left hand, she slides the index finger of her right hand in and out of the circle. That experience is irrelevant right now. I've had some experience, too. 2 times. What do you mean by inexperienced? I've been in the business for a few years now, and I'm not going to let you take me down. But this time it's not what you think, maybe. Please be absolutely sure. Well, you'll find out later. I guess so. I have no idea what Shiina will say or do. But for once, I have a pretty good idea what to expect. When she makes that face, she's serious. Saku-kun, well, now that we know we have something to talk about. She pointed right diagonally in front of me. Do you want to go to the haunted house? After all, you want to go there, don't you? Hehe. Because we came all this way, we have to go, right? I don't really care either way. To be honest, I am not very good at haunted houses. I can go to horror games, horror movies, and haunted places such as abandoned buildings, but I just don't feel like going to a haunted house. I believe that there are no such things as ghosts, and games and movies are not scary because they are on the screen, but a haunted house has people. No matter how scary the decorations are, they are no match for the fear of people who intentionally scare you. I just want to see Saku-kun's surprise, though. That's in too bad taste. That's right. I just want to see you scared. I get excited when I see you scared. Shiina drools with an unpleasant smile on her face. Don't suddenly talk about your sexual habits so openly. After that, I just want to cackle and hug Saku-kun. Don't you have any idea how to enjoy a haunted house the way it should be enjoyed? No. Then let's not go in. I have a bad feeling about this, so I'm heading in the opposite direction from the haunted house. If she sees me getting scared, I'm sure she'll take a video of me and tease me about it later. If she does that, it will be 100 times more annoying than the usual annoyance. Episode 59. Just kidding. Wait, Saku-kun. Let's go into the haunted house. She pulled my hand and tried desperately to stop me from running away. I don't want to go anymore. Let's go to the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel is open, so it's okay. Right? Then let's go. Besides, when the Ferris wheel is open, I don't have to worry about the people on either side of me looking at me, so I can do whatever I want. After all, you were going to do something weird, weren't you? I'm just kidding. I'll talk to you properly today. I don't trust you anymore. I'm afraid I'm going to be attacked. I'm afraid I'm going to be attacked. If that sad look in her eyes is an act, she's going to be a great actress. Anyway, I'm not going to the haunted house. Hey, then why don't we stop by the arcade? Shiina points to a sign that says arcade. I don't want to go there because you want to take Purakura pictures anyway. There was no way this person would go to an arcade to play shooting games or medal games. Well, medal games are usually out of place in this situation. Besides, I stepped on a landmine once at a Purakura. Shiina. I don't care about that issue anymore. Let's take Purakura. Why? We've come all this way. Let's take a picture as a memory. I won't make you regret it, okay? Purakura. So, I'm scratching my head. It's not that much of a problem to take pictures, considering what Shiina has done for me so far. I think it's not enough to take as many pictures as necessary. But I don't like what Shiina might do with the pictures we took. I don't want them to be used for something strange. She might print them out in multiples and put them all over the walls of the room, or lick them up and down. I wouldn't be able to say anything if she did that. Let's go. After much deliberation, I decided to take a picture. I just take Purakura, but I think this is the best way for Shiina to repay the favor. Like Shiina, staying by my side or working hard in the shadows, it's just enough to go unnoticed. Saku-kun is the best. Shiina hugs me vigorously after hearing my reply. Stop it, you're making me feel hot. That's fine. You should show your joy by your actions. Then a smile will suffice. I could tell she was happy by the smile on her face. But you know what? Didn't Saku-kun want to take a Purakura with me too? Kyukaku, her mouth down, and her eyes narrowed as she looked at me. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do it. How many times have we had this exchange? I've heard it dozens of times. So you finally can't take a joke anymore, can you, Saku-kun? No, I'm getting tired of this exchange. I get it. I'll limit the number of times I joke with you to 10 times a day. At least 3 jokes a day. Isn't that a little too short? Do you want to stop this? Okay, okay. She bowed her head with her palms folded. I wondered if she really understood. If she breaks her promise, I can sell Purakura with my face hidden. Purakura of a model, with a guy whom nobody knows who he is, are absolutely rare and would fetch a lot of money. Episode 60, Getting My Hopes Up. We moved on to the Purakura Machines corner. The amusement park, perhaps because it is a place with many couples, has an endless number of Purakura machines. I want this one today. No, I don't know what you mean. I've heard before that different machines have different degrees of success, but I have no idea. They all look the same. Well, let's go in and take a picture right away. After putting in 400 yen and setting the camera to couple mode, Shiina eagerly went inside. It's amazing how casually she sets the camera to couple mode. She didn't even turn me down. She was doing it with a nonchalant look on her face. Perhaps I should really sell Purakura. It's been a while since we took Purakura, hasn't it? Shiina says to me as she sets down her luggage. Last time was a bit of a disaster. That's why I'm sorry. It was all my fault. I don't care that much anymore. That's fine then. You know what? She brushed her bangs and set her phone on the phone holder. Hey, what's the point of taking a picture of us taking Purakura? It's often on TikTok or something, but what's the point of doing that? It's just a way to show off their lovey-dovey-ness, right? It won't. Purakura is just a memory, because it won't be captured in a video. Why don't you just take a picture? It's not good. I want to see Saku-kun in action. I don't get it. In short, I want to capture memories of you while I can. While you can? You're going to be around for a long time, aren't you? No, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, eh? I naturally speak up when Shiina looks away from me and fiddles with her hair. I thought it's time for me to get my act together, too. For Saku-kun's sake, I've thought about it a lot, you know? About the future. I'll tell you the details after we go to the Ferris wheel. But I'm sure it will be good for you, so you can count on me. That's why we're making memories. I too. Instantly, my voice was strained. I'm the same as Shiina. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do. What? Saku-kun is going to talk about the same thing as me? We'll talk about it on the Ferris wheel, but I think it's going to be good for Shiina, too, so you can count on me. HNN. Good thing, huh? I'll be looking forward to it. Shiina pokes me in the cheek to hide her embarrassment when I blatantly turn red in the cheek. Don't get carried away. Or I poke her in the head to stop her from getting any more carried away. Hey, I was just getting my hair done. It's your fault. Her eyes widened and she patted me on the shoulder. I wish she would make a fresh face like this on a regular basis. Episode 61, Ferris Wheel. Moo. Let's get this shot quick. Shiina, who had been disobedient, puckered her cheeks and looked at the camera. Yes, yes. I, too, turned toward the camera with a dumbfounded look on my face. The poses are the worst in Purakura in couple mode. They make you make a heart with your hands, hug, and eventually kiss. Of course, Shiina would be happy to do it all. But it's just too much for me. TCH, I didn't get any kisses in this Purakura, Shiina said in the processing booth after taking about 7 pictures. What's the point of having a kiss in a Purakura? What's the point of going to the trouble of taking pictures of ourselves kissing? I said that, but I have a kiss with Chisato saved in my photo holder, but I don't want to mention that. I can't wait to go on the Ferris wheel. It's about the right time, too. It was around 6:30 p.m., and it was getting dark. We took the Purakura printouts and headed for the Ferris wheel as soon as we got out of the arcade. As we were climbing the stairs, we could see the lights leaking from the buildings and the Ferris wheel lit up. It was truly a night view spot. There's no line. Surprising. No one was waiting in line at the entrance of the Ferris wheel, and only a few couples were getting off. It was probably still early in the day. Certainly, if they were on a date or something, they would still be playing. I think the crowds peak around 7 to 8 o'clock. I'm sure they would ride it as a memory of the day. Let's go, Saku-kun. Shiina leads the way, and I follow her inside. The attendant closed the door and we were alone in the enclosed space. The Ferris wheel is so exciting, isn't it? That's something you say when you get to the top, isn't it? No, no, no. Once you get on the Ferris wheel, the tension is already at its maximum. Shiina shook her body as she looked outside. This scene was familiar to me. The first time I rode the Ferris wheel with Chisato, she looked at the scenery with excitement. Just like Shiina, I can't help but compare everything with the past. I want to forget about it, but I can't. I think about it too much. I want to keep them as good memories, but I feel empty. I know Chisato wouldn't want this, but I can't help thinking about it. I glanced at her as she looked down at me. Well, Saku-kun, let's talk. She sits up again, puts her hands on her knees, and looks me in the eye. Episode 62, The Best Way to Repay. Yes, let's talk about this properly. I, too, look at Shiina with determination. What do you want to do? Which do you want to talk first? I don't care which one. I'm listening if you want to talk first, or I'll tell you first if you want to talk later. I'd like to hear what Saku-kun has to say first, but I'll tell you first here. I see. I don't know what to do. I'll just say my conclusion first. Taking a deep breath, she said, I'm going to keep my distance from you from now on. She clenched her fists in concealment and said, Eh? I was taken aback by her words. What, Saku-kun? Don't make that kind of face. How was the happy news? Shiina smiled at me, but it was a completely fake smile. I was there for you before to reassure you and keep you from feeling lonely. But I thought you would be fine now. Besides, I'm just in the way. I think I have been overdoing things to him for quite a while now, or rather, I've been doing a lot of annoying things to him. I was always following him around more than I should have, trying to be with him even though I was being a nuisance, and just generally being a pain in the ass. So, I decided to put an end to that today. I thought. Shiina's smile gradually fades and the tone of her voice lowers. How's it going? It was a good story for you, wasn't it? A drop of water trickles down her cheek. Huh? Why am I crying? The drop eventually overflows from the eye and a large tear flows down. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to cry. I'm no good at all. Wiping away her overflowing tears, Shiina tells the story as best she can in a hushed voice. Shiina. I bit my lip tightly. What am I doing after putting Shiina through so much pain? Hanging on to the past, not looking forward. I will be forever remembering and feeling empty. Shiina, who couldn't bear to see me like that, reached out to me many times, didn't she? No matter how many times I have to pay off her kind hand, she has always been there for me no matter what time of day. Now it's my turn. Abe-san said that this is my problem too. That's why I'm here to settle the score. This is the best way to repay Shiina for all she has done for me, and I want to talk about the future with Shiina. Episode 63, The Best Story for Shiina. Shiina. I take Shiina's hand. Huh? What's wrong, Saku-kun? This action, I've been giving you a lot of trouble. I've been giving you a lot of trouble so far, you know. You are worried about me. but I ignored you or jumped on you every time. I'm sorry. I just couldn't be honest, or I was still a child. I'm miserable, clinging to the past, waiting my whole life for someone who won't come back. But you always stood by me like that and never gave up on me. It's true that you did some things that went too far, but now that I think about it, I'm really grateful, and I feel like a real scumbag. That's not true. Saku-kun has been suffering for a long time, and he's been trying his best. You have nothing to blame yourself for. You're the one who's been working hard. It must have been hard for you to deal with such a jerk every day and work as a model too and not be with me. But you kept smiling. I asked Tape-san about it. About Shiina. That's right. You've been crying behind the scenes and thinking about me very seriously. You just don't show it so that I don't worry about you. You're really great. Saku-kun. Shiina also held my hand back. That said, there was nothing I could do for Saku-kun. No, the story is not over yet. The best story from me to you is yet to come. The best story. There is only one such thing. Perhaps that's what Shiina wanted the most. A feeling of gratitude for everything that has happened so far, and I'm moving on. My memories of Chisato are memories of the past. They are no longer sad memories, but happy memories. Shiina, I only look forward. And I face Shiina properly. I want you to stay with me. The top of the Ferris wheel. The gondola was illuminated by all kinds of lights, and the words echoed like a proposal. Episode 64. Yet right? At that moment, Shiina's eyes reflect and sparkle in the nightscape. Is that what you mean, girlfriend? She looks at me with a blush on her cheeks and looks up at me. The expression makes me blush, but I'm in a panic. No, I don't mean like that yet. I mean more normal, like we're still childhood friends, not following each other around or acting like menheras. I'm not going to go out with her or act like she's my childhood friend yet. Girlfriend, it is not yet possible to call her. We've been a good friend since I was a little girl. We can talk about anything and everything and solve problems together. No, huh? I said to Shiina, who was blushing and shrugging. PFFT, ahahaha. She suddenly bursts out laughing. Did I say something funny? No, not at all. I just thought it wasn't like you. Is that a diss? No, it's just like you. I don't get it. How long have you been making me wait? Do you know how long I've been waiting? I'm really sorry. Well, I like that about you too. Your childishness. She smiled as she wiped away her tears, but I'm a little disappointed that I'm not your girlfriend though. She leaned back and stretched. That's not exactly the same as this. Saku-kun, you're a chicken. Which part? I thought it was a man's right to speak up when he's in a situation like that. What do you mean? Well, it's okay. I'll wait for you. I'm good at waiting. Waiting? When did I say that? Because it's not yet right? She raises her index finger and places it gently on my nose. I'm not your girlfriend right now, but I can be your girlfriend in the future, can't I? When did I say that? You said earlier that I'm not your girlfriend yet. That's a long-winded way of saying you're confessing your feelings for me, isn't it? Wha? I blush when Shiina looks at me devilishly. Shiina will become my girlfriend. I wonder if such a future will come. I'm not sure if it will ever come. The word yet was said subconsciously. I'm not sure if there is a part of me deep down in my heart that wants to see that future. What Tape-san said was right. I should be true to my heart. This is for my sake and Shiina's sake. I will never throw Shiina away again. I will keep a little distance from her when she behaves abnormally. But that probably won't happen again. If I don't reject her, Shiina will stay quietly next to me. I'm sure she will be. The night view is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Before I knew it, Shiina was standing next to me, putting her hand on the window and staring out. This view is certainly the kind of view you want to see with your significant other. I can understand why couples are flocking to it. Shiina's profile illuminated by the night view. I think again. It is a miracle that such a beautiful girl has always been by my side. Plus, the fact that I had deluded myself into thinking we were in a relationship seemed like a dream. Shiina. What? Shall we eat ramen and go home? Why yeah, Let's. I expected Shiina to turn to me with a smile as usual, but she kept looking out the window. She was also looking away from me a little. But I can see Shiina's expression in the reflection of the window. It was the face of a girl who had achieved her dream, with a single tear on her cheek, but beaming. Episode 65, Epilogue. Ramen is always great. Yes. The pork bone broth is exceptionally good. After getting off the Ferris wheel, we left Cosmo World and took the train to a ramen shop near the nearest station. During that time, Shiina and I talked about everything. We talked about school, the game I've been into recently, and even Shiina's work. Our mouths moved as if overflowing with things we had never talked about before. We finished eating our ramen and were on our way home with a good sense of distance between us. It's been a while since we've walked together like this. Shiina, with her arms crossed behind her back, bends at the waist a little as she says, "That's for sure. It's been a long time since we've walked properly." Until recently, I've been clutched in her arms and hugged by her. When I become more famous as a model, I may not be able to do this anymore. How can you say that when you're not famous yet? Moo. I'll definitely make you regret it when I sell. Go ahead, if you can. I'll say a lot of things about you in the magazine. Oh, by the way, you should clear up the misunderstanding about that interview. That's fine. Leave it as it is. I don't think it's a good idea. It's a national publication. You can't take it back. Besides, it could turn out to be true. Say what you want. The annoyance still seems to be alive and well, but it's not just the first time I've seen this. Well, I'm already home. Well, it's close to the station. As we talked, we were in front of the house in no time at all. Thanks for everything you did for me today. I'm glad to have heard about you, too, Saku-kun. Well, let's be like a good, long-lived relationship from now on. Is that a proposal? Of course not. I give Shiina, who looks at me with narrowed eyes, a bump. That's what I'm talking about. Saku-kun. That's what I'm talking about, too. I've been enjoying this silly exchange for the first time in a long time. After all, it's comfortable to be with Shiina, just because I had rejected her. I'll see you later. Yeah, see you at school. We walked into the house across the street from each other. When I close the front door, I see a little of Shiina's face. A moment later, Shiina's face appeared and she said, "Nice to meet you from now on. Boyfriend-san." With a small smile, she waves her hand. I was thrilled to see Shiina's expression, which looked 10 times cuter and prettier than before. "Don't get carried away," she snickered to hide it and replied with a laugh. "Moo, Saku-kun is so stubborn to the end you can say whatever you want." Okay. See you tomorrow." Waving her hand, Shiina went inside the house. I too closed the front door when I saw Shiina enter the house. A beautiful girl who is under the delusion that she's dating me. I can't escape because we are childhood friends. But from now on, I won't run away because we've been friends since childhood. The end. Story completed.